The clock on the microwave blinked 11:47 p.m. in harsh red numbers. Tanya Robinson sat on the worn carpet of her studio apartment, her back against the couch, staring at her phone while her 6-month-old daughter screamed in her arms. The sound cut through her like broken glass. Amara's face was red, her tiny fists clenched, her body rigid with hunger and frustration. "I know, baby. I know," Tanya whispered, rocking back and forth, but her voice cracked. She had been crying too, though she tried to hide it. Amara didn't need to feel her mother's panic on top of her own hunger. The empty formula can sat on the counter, mocking her. Tanya had scraped the last bit out 3 hours ago, mixing it with more water than recommended, hoping it would be enough. It wasn't. Amara knew. Babies always knew. Tanya checked her bank account again on her phone, even though she had memorized the number. $3.42. Her next paycheck from the call center job wouldn't come until Friday, 3 days away. She had applied for emergency assistance, but the appointment wasn't until next week. Next week might as well have been next year when your baby was crying from hunger right now, in this moment at nearly midnight on a Tuesday. She scrolled through her contacts with shaking fingers. Her mother was in Atlanta, barely making ends meet herself after her father's medical bills. Her sister was overseas with the military. Her cousin had helped last month and couldn't do it again. That left Tamika, her friend from the old neighborhood, who had offered to help anytime. Pride tried to stop her fingers from typing. Pride whispered that she should handle this alone, that she was a grown woman, that asking for help meant admitting failure. But Amara's cries drowned out pride. Nothing mattered except feeding her daughter. Tanya typed quickly, her vision blurred with tears. "Hey T, I know it's late, but can you please lend me $70 for formula? I get paid Friday and I'll pay you back. Amara won't stop crying and I don't know what else to do." She hit send before she could second-guess herself, then immediately felt the wave of shame wash over her. What kind of mother couldn't even afford to feed her own child? What had she done wrong? She had worked so hard, done everything right, but life kept knocking her down anyway. Tanya had been a nurse's aide before Amara was born. The pregnancy had been difficult, and when Amara arrived 2 months early, weighing barely 4 pounds, Tanya had spent every moment at the hospital. She lost her job for missing too many shifts. The medical bills piled up faster than she could count them. By the time Amara came home, Tanya was starting from zero with a mountain of debt crushing her. The call center job was all she could find that offered any flexibility, but it barely covered rent and utilities. Food came from the pantry at church. Diapers were donated from a local charity. Formula was the expensive necessity that kept breaking her budget, and this week her car had needed an emergency repair that wiped out what little cushion she had. Tanya looked down at Amara, whose cries had weakened to exhausted whimpers. Her daughter's brown eyes were glassy with tears, her little mouth opening and closing, searching for milk that wasn't there. The sight broke something inside Tanya. "I'm so sorry, baby girl," she whispered, kissing Amara's forehead. "Mama's going to fix this. I promise." Her phone buzzed. Tanya grabbed it eagerly, expecting Tamika's response. Instead, she saw a number she didn't recognize. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. What's your address?" Tanya stared at the message, her heart suddenly pounding for a different reason. This wasn't Tamika. She looked at the message she had sent, horror dawning on her. She had been so upset, so frantic, that she must have clicked the wrong contact. She didn't even recognize this number. She typed back quickly, "I'm so sorry, wrong number. Please ignore that message." The response came immediately, "I'm not ignoring a baby who needs formula. Address please." Tanya's hands trembled. This could be anyone. A stranger. Maybe someone dangerous. Maybe someone who would judge her and make her feel even worse than she already did. Maybe someone who would call child services and say she was an unfit mother. But then Amara whimpered again and Tanya made a choice. She sent her address. 18 minutes later, there was a knock on her door. Tanya had spent those 18 minutes in a state of anxious preparation. She had changed Amara's diaper, straightened the small apartment as much as possible, and tried to make herself look less like she had been crying for hours. It didn't work. Her eyes were swollen, her hair was a mess, and her t-shirt had spit up stains on the shoulder. She looked through the peephole and saw a tall white man, probably in his mid-30s, wearing an expensive-looking black coat and holding 2 large shopping bags. He didn't look dangerous. He looked like someone who had just left an office building in the business district downtown. Tanya opened the door slowly, keeping the chain lock attached. "Hello." The man's face was kind, his blue eyes gentle. "Tanya Robinson?" "Yes." "Who are you?" "My name is Logan Bennett. You texted me by mistake about formula for your daughter. He held up the bags. I brought some supplies. May I come in? Tanya's face burned with embarrassment. You didn't have to do this. I'm so sorry I bothered you. I can't take that. Your daughter is hungry, Logan said simply. I'm not leaving until she's fed. Please. Something in his voice, calm and without judgment, made Tanya's resistance crumble. She closed the door, unlatched the chain and opened it again. Logan stepped inside, immediately spotting Amara in her bouncer seat, her face still red from crying. Hey there, little one, he said softly, setting the bags on the small kitchen counter. Let's get you taken care of. Tanya watched in stunned silence as Logan unpacked the bags. There were 6 large containers of formula, 3 different brands. Diapers in Amara's size. Baby food. Wipes. Even a few small toys. The pile on her counter represented more than $200 worth of supplies. This is too much, Tanya said, her voice barely above a whisper. I only asked for $70. I can't accept all this. Logan turned to face her, his expression serious but warm. When I was 6 months old, my mother was in your exact situation. She had no money, no formula, and I wouldn't stop crying. A neighbor helped her that night and my mom never forgot it. She told me that story my whole life. So please let me do this. Not because you need charity but because someone helped us once and this is how I pay that forward. Tanya felt tears spilling down her cheeks again. Thank you. I'll pay you back, I promise. No, Logan said firmly but gently. This is a gift. No strings, no payback. Just take care of your daughter. Tanya nodded, unable to speak. Logan picked up one of the formula containers and read the instructions. May I make her a bottle? I want to make sure she gets fed before I leave. Tanya showed him where the bottles were, and together they prepared one. Logan handed it to Tanya, who settled on the couch with Amara. The moment the bottle touched her daughter's lips, Amara latched on desperately, drinking with the intensity of someone who had been starving. Because she had been. Logan sat in the chair across from them, watching with a soft smile. As Amara drank, the apartment fell into a peaceful silence that Tanya had not experienced all night. It was only then that she noticed other things about her apartment that embarrassed her. The broken heater that she had reported 3 times to the landlord. The stack of medical bills on the counter, bright red past due stamps visible even from across the room. The thin curtains that didn't quite close all the way. The furniture that was clearly secondhand at best. How old is she? Logan asked. 6 months. She was premature, born at 30 weeks. Spent the first 6 weeks of her life in the NICU. Logan nodded. That must have been terrifying. It was the worst time of my life, Tanya admitted. But also the best because she survived. She's a fighter. Like her mother, I imagine. Tanya looked up at him, surprised. Logan's expression held no pity, only respect. It made her feel seen in a way she hadn't felt in months. What do you do, Logan? Tanya asked, realizing she knew nothing about this stranger who had shown up at midnight to help her. I run a tech company downtown. Bennett Tech Solutions. We do software development and IT consulting. He paused. I know this is strange, me being here. You don't know me and you have every right to be wary. But I meant what I said about my mother. She raised me alone, worked 3 jobs and we still struggled. I watched her skip meals so I could eat. I watched her cry when she couldn't afford my school supplies. I built my company specifically so I would never feel that helpless again, and so I could help others who were in the position we were in. Tanya finished feeding Amara, who had fallen into a milk-drunk sleep, her little body finally relaxed. She looked down at her daughter's peaceful face and felt a surge of love so strong it hurt. I used to be a nurse's aide, Tanya said quietly. I was good at my job. I loved helping people. But when Amara was born early, I had to be at the hospital. My boss said she understood, but after 3 weeks she let me go. I couldn't find another healthcare job because my references weren't good. So I took a call center job. It pays the bills barely. I'm trying to save up to go back to school, get my nursing degree, but every time I save a little, something happens. The car breaks down. Amara gets sick. The rent goes up. I feel like I'm drowning and no matter how hard I swim, I can't reach the surface. Logan leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. You're not drowning. You're surviving. There's a difference. Drowning people give up. You texted someone for help because you wanted to feed your child. That's not giving up. That's doing whatever it takes. It doesn't feel like enough. It is enough. You are enough. The words hit Tanya harder than she expected. When was the last time someone had told her she was enough? When had she last believed it herself? They sat in silence for a few moments. Logan glanced at his watch. It's almost 1 in the morning. I should let you get some rest. But before I go, I noticed your heater is broken. How long has it been like that? 3 weeks. The landlord keeps saying he'll send someone. Logan pulled out his phone and typed something. I'm sending a repairman tomorrow morning. He works with my company's properties. He'll fix it for free. You don't have to do that. I know I don't have to. I want to. Logan stood up, buttoning his coat. Tanya, can I ask you something? Of course. If I offered you a job at my company, would you take it? Tanya's breath caught. What? A real job. Better pay than the call center, full benefits including healthcare. We have an on-site daycare for employees. You could bring Amara to work with you. The position would be in customer service to start, but we promote from within. If you want to pursue your nursing degree, we offer tuition assistance after 6 months. Tanya felt dizzy. This couldn't be real. People didn't just show up at midnight and offer you a whole new life. Why would you do this for someone you don't even know? Because I can. Because someone should have done it for my mother, but no one did, and I watched her suffer for years. Because you deserve a chance, and Amara deserves a mother who isn't constantly stressed about money. And honestly, because I think you'd be good at the job. Anyone who can handle what you're handling right now has the kind of resilience we value at Bennett Tech. Tanya wanted to say no. Pride reared up again, telling her this was too much, that she didn't deserve this, that there must be strings attached. But then she looked down at Amara, sleeping peacefully in her arms, her belly finally full. She thought about the medical bills on the counter. She thought about the broken heater and the thin walls and the constant fear that kept her awake at night. She thought about kindness and hope, and the possibility that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. Yes, Tanya said, her voice steady. Yes, I'll take the job. Thank you. Thank you so much. Logan smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. Good. I'll have HR contact you tomorrow with the details. You can start as soon as you're ready. He walked to the door, then turned back. Tanya, one more thing. That pile of medical bills on your counter. How much do you owe? Tanya's stomach sank. About $12,000. I'm on a payment plan, but the interest keeps adding up. Logan nodded slowly. Okay. Get some rest. We'll talk more tomorrow. After he left, Tanya sat on the couch holding her sleeping daughter, staring at the formula containers on the counter. She felt like she was in a dream. In the span of an hour, her entire life had shifted. She didn't know what would happen next, didn't know if this was real or if she would wake up tomorrow and find it had all been exhausted desperation playing tricks on her mind. But Amara was fed. The formula was real. The business card Logan had left on the counter was real. And for the first time in months, Tanya felt something she had almost forgotten existed. She felt hope. Wait, before you keep reading, can I ask you something? If you were in Tanya's position, with your baby crying from hunger and no money to feed them, would you have had the courage to ask for help? Would you have accepted it from a stranger? Please subscribe and comment below with your thoughts. Your stories might help someone else who's struggling right now. Tanya woke up on the couch at 7 in the morning, her neck stiff and her arm numb from the way Amara had been sleeping on it. For a moment, she was disoriented, unsure if the events of last night had actually happened. Then she saw the formula containers on the counter and reality clicked into place. It had been real. All of it. She carefully moved Amara to her crib, and her daughter continued sleeping peacefully, her face relaxed in a way Tanya hadn't seen in days. Fed babies slept differently. Tanya knew that now more than ever. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. A text from an unknown number. This is Rachel from Bennett Tech Solutions HR. Mr. Bennett asked me to reach out regarding an employment opportunity. Are you available for a call this morning? Tanya's heart raced. She typed back quickly, yes, anytime after 8 a.m. works for me. The response came immediately, perfect. I'll call you at 8:15. Tanya spent the next hour in a flurry of nervous energy. She showered, put on clean clothes, and tried to make herself look presentable. She fed Amara, changed her, and got her settled in the bouncer with some toys. At exactly 8:15 her phone rang. Hello, this is Tanya. Good morning, Tanya. This is Rachel Chin from HR at Bennett Tech Solutions. Mr. Bennett spoke very highly of you and asked me to extend a job offer for our customer care specialist position. Do you have a few minutes to discuss the details? Yes, absolutely. Rachel went through the position requirements, which were straightforward. Handle customer inquiries via phone and email, troubleshoot basic technical issues, maintain customer satisfaction records. The pay was $18 an hour to start, nearly double what Tanya made at the call center. Full health insurance after 30 days. Dental and vision included. The on-site daycare was free for employees and operated from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. We also offer tuition reimbursement after 6 months of employment, Rachel continued. If you're pursuing any degree or certification, the company will cover up to $10,000 per year in education expenses. Tanya felt tears welling up again. She seemed to cry constantly these days, but for once they were good tears. When would I start? Mr. Bennett suggested giving you a week to arrange childcare transition and handle any personal matters, but if you're ready sooner, we can accommodate that. How does Monday sound? Today was Wednesday. That gave her 5 days. Monday is perfect. Wonderful. I'll email you the new hire paperwork this afternoon. Welcome to Bennett Tech Solutions, Tanya. We're excited to have you on the team. After the call ended, Tanya sat in stunned silence. This was happening. This was really happening. She picked up Amara, spinning her around gently. We're going to be okay, baby girl. We're actually going to be okay. At 9:30 there was a knock on the door. Tanya looked through the peephole and saw a middle-aged Latino man in a work uniform holding a toolbox. Heating repair, he called out. Mr. Bennett sent me. Tanya opened the door, stepping aside to let him in. Thank you for coming so quickly. No problem. Mr. Bennett is a good man. Takes care of people. He walked over to the old radiator heater and knelt down, examining it. This unit is ancient. Surprised it worked at all. I'm going to replace it with a new one. Should take about an hour. Replace it? I thought you were just fixing it. The repairman smiled. Mr. Bennett doesn't do half measures. He said make sure you and the baby stay warm. So that's what I'm going to do. True to his word, an hour later, Tanya had a brand new heating unit installed. The apartment was warm for the first time in weeks. The repairman refused any payment, saying it was already taken care of, and left with a friendly wave. Tanya sat on the couch, overwhelmed by the generosity of a man she had only met once, in the middle of the night, during the worst moment of her life. Who was Logan Bennett? Why was he doing all this? That afternoon, Tanya decided she needed to understand more about the man who had changed her life overnight. She looked up Bennett Tech Solutions on her phone and found their website. The company was bigger than she had imagined, with over 300 employees and offices in 5 cities. They specialized in custom software solutions for healthcare systems, schools, and small businesses. On the About Us page, she found Logan's biography. Logan Bennett, founder and CEO, had started the company 8 years ago with money he had saved from working multiple jobs through college. He had a degree in computer science from a state university and had built the business from the ground up. The biography mentioned his commitment to ethical business practices and employee welfare, noting that Bennett Tech Solutions had been recognized as one of the best places to work in the state for 3 consecutive years. There was a photo of Logan in a blue suit, smiling professionally. He looked different than he had last night, more polished and distant. But Tanya remembered the gentleness in his eyes when he had looked at Amara, and she knew the photo didn't capture the real person. She kept searching and found articles about Logan's charitable work. He had established scholarship programs for children of single parents. He donated to food banks and homeless shelters. He had funded a community center in the neighborhood where he grew up. Every article painted the picture of someone who remembered where he came from and wanted to help others climb the same ladder he had. Tanya felt a strange mix of emotions. Gratitude, obviously, but also curiosity, and something else she couldn't quite name. Logan Bennett was handsome, successful, kind, and completely out of her league. She scolded herself for even thinking in those terms. He had helped her because he was a good person, not because he was interested in her. She was a struggling single mother with a mountain of debt. He was a billionaire CEO who probably had women far more put together than her competing for his attention. Still, she couldn't stop thinking about the way he had looked at her last night. Not with pity but with understanding. Like he saw her as an equal, someone worthy of respect and kindness. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Logan. How did the meeting with HR go? Tanya smiled, typing back. Really well. I start Monday. Thank you again for everything. You're very welcome. The heater should be fixed by now. Yes, the repairman just left. You replaced the whole thing. That was way more than necessary. Necessary is relative. You and Amara being warm is necessary to me. How is she doing today? She's perfect. Sleeping peacefully, eating well. Like a completely different baby. Good. That's what matters. I hope you don't mind, but I took care of something else today. Tanya's heart skipped. What do you mean? Those medical bills on your counter. I contacted the hospital and paid them off. Your account is cleared. Tanya stopped breathing. She read the message 3 times, certain she must have misunderstood. $12,000. He had paid $12,000 of her debt without even asking her permission. She called him immediately. Logan answered on the first ring. Tanya? Logan, you can't just pay off my medical bills. That's $12,000. That's insane. It's already done. The hospital confirmed the payment cleared this morning. I can't let you do this. I'll pay you back. I'll set up a payment plan. No. His voice was firm but not unkind. Tanya, listen to me. That debt was crushing you. I could see it on your face last night. Every time you looked at those bills, you felt like a failure even though you did nothing wrong. Having a premature baby isn't your fault. The medical system that charges ridiculous amounts for basic care isn't your fault. You were drowning in debt that you could never realistically pay off while also trying to raise your daughter and build a future. So I paid it. And I don't want the money back. Consider it an investment in Amara's future. A child needs a mother who can breathe, who isn't constantly terrified of the next bill. Now you can breathe. Tanya was crying again, silent tears streaming down her face. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just take care of yourself and that beautiful little girl. That's all I want. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. There was a pause on the other end. When Logan spoke again, his voice was quieter, more vulnerable. My mother died 5 years ago. Cancer. She spent her whole life working herself to the bone to give me opportunities. She never got to see me succeed because by the time I had money, by the time I could have given her the world, it was too late. She was gone. I can't help her anymore. But I can help people like her. People who are trying so hard, who deserve so much better than what life has given them. So when you texted me last night, desperate and scared, asking for help to feed your baby, it was like the universe giving me a chance to do for you what I wish someone had done for my mother. Please don't take that away from me by insisting on paying me back. Tanya understood then. This wasn't about her. Or rather, it was about her, but it was also about Logan's mother, about the pain of helplessness, about trying to make meaning out of loss. Who was she to deny him that? Okay, she whispered. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Now get some rest. Monday will be here before you know it. After they hung up, Tanya sat holding her phone, feeling like her life had become unrecognizable in the span of 24 hours. Yesterday at this time she had been drowning. Today she had a new job, a paid-off medical debt, a working heater, and enough formula to last weeks. She looked at Amara, who was awake now and looking at her with those big brown eyes that seemed to see everything. Your mama just got saved by an angel, baby girl. A 6-foot-tall angel in an expensive coat who showed up at midnight because I texted the wrong number. If that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. That evening, Tanya called her mother in Atlanta. Lorraine Robinson answered on the second ring, her voice warm and familiar. Tanya, baby, how are you? How's my grandbaby? Mama, you're not going to believe what happened. Tanya told her everything, from the desperate text to the midnight visit to the job offer to the paid medical bills. She could hear her mother crying on the other end. God is good, Lorraine said when Tanya finished. Baby, I've been praying so hard for you. I felt so helpless being all the way down here when you needed help. But God sent you an angel. That man Logan, he's a blessing. I still can't believe it's real, Mama. Believe it, baby. Sometimes good things happen to good people. You've been through so much. You deserve this. You deserve all of this and more. They talked for another hour, Lorraine asking questions about the job and giving advice about starting fresh at a new company. By the time they hung up, Tanya felt grounded in a way she hadn't since Amara was born. She had her mother's approval, her daughter's needs met, and a future that looked brighter than it had in years. As Tanya got ready for bed that night, feeding Amara her bottle and humming softly, she thought about Logan. She wondered what he was doing right now. Was he in some fancy penthouse looking out over the city? Was he thinking about her at all, or had he already moved on to the next crisis, the next person who needed help? She wondered if she would see him at the office on Monday. Part of her hoped she would. Part of her was terrified at the prospect. What would she even say to him? How do you have a normal conversation with someone who had saved your life? Tanya put Amara down in her crib and climbed into bed, pulling the warm blankets up to her chin. The apartment was comfortable for the first time in weeks. Her phone showed no urgent notifications, no overdue bills, no desperate messages. Just silence. Peaceful, hopeful silence. As she drifted off to sleep, Tanya sent one more text to Logan. Thank you for giving me and Amara a chance at a real life. I won't let you down. His response came a minute later. You could never let me down. Sleep well, Tanya. She smiled in the darkness and closed her eyes, feeling safe in a way she hadn't felt in longer than she could remember. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new adjustments, new things to worry about. But tonight, for the first time in months, Tanya Robinson went to sleep with hope in her heart and peace in her mind. And somewhere across the city, Logan Bennett sat in his apartment, looking at his phone, wondering how a random text message had managed to make him feel more alive than he had in years. Monday morning arrived with bright sunlight streaming through Tanya's window. She had been awake since 5, too nervous and excited to sleep. She had chosen her outfit carefully, a navy blue dress that was professional without being too formal, paired with simple black flats. Her hair was pulled back in a neat bun. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. For the first time in months, she didn't look exhausted. She looked hopeful. Amara had been fed, changed, and dressed in a cute green onesie with little elephants on it. Tanya had packed her diaper bag twice, paranoid that she would forget something essential. The Bennett Tech Solutions building was only 20 minutes away by bus, and Tanya had planned to arrive 30 minutes early to get Amara settled in the daycare before her official start time. The bus ride downtown felt surreal. Tanya held Amara close, watching the city pass by through the window. She had taken this route before to job interviews that went nowhere, to the welfare office, to the hospital during Amara's difficult early months. But today felt different. Today she was heading toward something good. The Bennett Tech Solutions building was modern and sleek, all glass and steel, located in the revitalized downtown district. Tanya entered through the main lobby, where a friendly receptionist directed her to the 5th floor for HR check-in and the 2nd floor for the daycare. The daycare was nothing like Tanya had imagined. It was bright and spacious, with colorful murals on the walls, age-appropriate toys organized neatly on shelves, and soft foam mats covering the play areas. There were separate rooms for infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. The staff wore matching red shirts and greeted her warmly. A young black woman with box braids approached her, smiling. "You must be Tanya. I'm Angela, one of the infant room caregivers. And this must be Amara." She reached out gently to Amara, who studied her with curious eyes. "She's beautiful." "Thank you," Tanya said, feeling emotional already. "This is my first time leaving her with anyone other than family. I understand. It's hard. But I promise you we'll take excellent care of her. We have cameras in every room that you can access through the company app on your phone so you can check on her anytime. We do feeding schedules, nap schedules, and we'll text you updates throughout the day. You also can come down here during your breaks anytime you want to visit." Angela walked Tanya through the check-in process, showing her Amara's assigned cubby, explaining the daily routine, and answering every question with patience. By the time Tanya handed Amara over, she felt confident that her daughter was in good hands. Still, walking away from the daycare was one of the hardest things she had ever done. On the 5th floor, Rachel from HR was waiting for her with a warm smile. "Tanya, welcome. How was drop-off?" "Harder than I expected, but the daycare is incredible." "Thank you. We're really proud of it. Mr. Bennett insisted on making it the best possible environment for our employees' children. He knows that parents work better when they're not worried about their kids." Rachel led Tanya through a series of corridors to a bright, open workspace. "This is the customer care department. Your team lead is Brielle Santos. She'll be training you for the first 2 weeks." Brielle was a petite Latina woman in her early 30s with warm brown eyes and an infectious smile. She wore a bright red cardigan over a white blouse, and her desk was decorated with photos of what appeared to be her family and small succulents in colorful pots. "Tanya, right? I've been looking forward to meeting you." Brielle extended her hand and Tanya shook it. "Welcome to the team. I promise we're not as intimidating as corporate offices can sometimes seem. We're actually pretty relaxed here." Brielle's workstation was next to what would be Tanya's, and she spent the morning walking Tanya through the company systems, the customer database, and the types of inquiries they typically handled. The work was straightforward, and Tanya found herself picking it up quickly. Her experience in healthcare had given her excellent people skills and attention to detail, both of which translated well to customer service. At lunch, Brielle invited Tanya to the company cafeteria on the 3rd floor. It was bright and modern, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering views of the city. The food was subsidized for employees, making it incredibly affordable. "So," Brielle said as they settled at a table with their meals, "how are you liking it so far?" "It's wonderful. Everyone has been so welcoming. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I work here now." "How did you hear about the position?" "We don't usually advertise customer care roles externally." Tanya hesitated. She wasn't sure how much she should share about her connection to Logan. Would people think she had gotten special treatment? Would they resent her for it? Mr. Bennett offered me the position, she said carefully. We met through unusual circumstances. Brielle's eyes widened with interest. Really? Logan doesn't usually handle hiring directly. He must have seen something special in you. I don't know about that. He's just a really kind person. He is, Brielle agreed. I've worked here for 5 years and he's the best boss I've ever had. He actually cares about his employees. My son needed surgery 2 years ago and the company insurance covered everything, but I still had to take time off. Logan personally called me to make sure I knew my job was secure and that I should take as much time as I needed. Not many CEOs would do that. Tanya felt warmth spread through her chest. Everything she was learning about Logan confirmed what she had sensed that first night. He was genuinely good, someone who used his success to lift others up. After lunch, as Tanya was heading back to her desk, she nearly collided with someone in the hallway. Strong hands caught her shoulders, steadying her. She looked up and found herself face to face with Logan. Tanya, he said, his face breaking into a smile. First day going well? Yes, really well. Everyone has been so nice. She felt suddenly self-conscious, aware of how close they were standing. Logan seemed to realize the same thing and stepped back, dropping his hands from her shoulders. Brielle is one of our best team leads. You're in good hands. He paused, looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. How's Amara doing in daycare? I've checked the camera about 20 times already. She's doing great. Better than I'm doing with the separation, honestly. Logan laughed, a genuine sound that made Tanya smile. That's normal. It gets easier. Listen, I'm glad I ran into you. Would you be interested in getting coffee sometime? Maybe later this week? I'd like to hear how things are going once you're settled in. Coffee sounds nice. Thank you. Great. I'll text you. Logan glanced at his watch. I have a meeting, but I'm really glad you're here, Tanya. I have a good feeling about this. He walked away and Tanya stood in the hallway for a moment, her heart beating faster than it should. It was just coffee. A check-in between employer and new employee. Nothing more. She needed to remember that. The rest of the week passed in a blur of training, learning new systems, and adjusting to her new routine. Amara thrived in daycare, making Tanya's transition easier than expected. The other mothers in the infant room were friendly, and Tanya found herself making connections with other working parents who understood her situation. Brielle became more than just a team lead. She was funny, warm, and had a way of making everyone on the team feel valued. During breaks, she shared stories about her husband Miguel and their 2 kids, and she asked Tanya about her life with genuine interest. On Wednesday, Tanya received a text from Logan. Coffee Friday afternoon? There's a cafe 2 blocks from the office. 3 p.m.? Tanya agreed and spent the next 2 days trying not to overthink it. It was just coffee. Professional. Normal. But she still changed her outfit 3 times Friday morning and checked her reflection more than usual. The cafe was cozy and modern, with exposed brick walls and local art displayed for sale. Logan was already there when Tanya arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups in front of him. I hope you don't mind, I ordered for you. Vanilla latte. If that's not right, I can get you something else. That's perfect. How did you know? Logan smiled. Lucky guess. You seem like a vanilla latte person. They settled into their seats and for a moment there was awkward silence. Tanya wasn't sure how to behave around Logan outside the office. Was this a business meeting? A friendly check-in? Something else? How has your first week been? Logan asked, breaking the silence. Honestly? It's been the best week I've had in a long time. The job is challenging but not overwhelming. Brielle is an amazing mentor. The daycare is perfect for Amara. And having health insurance that actually covers things is life-changing. I went to the dentist yesterday for the first time in 2 years. Logan laughed. I'm glad to hear it. You seem more relaxed than when we first met. I was having the worst night of my life when we met. Not exactly my best moment. I disagree. I think it was one of your best moments. You were terrified and exhausted, but you still did what needed to be done to take care of your daughter. That takes strength. Tanya looked down at her coffee, feeling emotional. Thank you for saying that. Most days I feel like I'm barely holding it together. You're doing better than you think. Logan paused, stirring his coffee absently. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Amara's father. Is he in the picture? Tanya's jaw tightened. No. He left when I told him I was pregnant. Said he wasn't ready to be a father and that I should take care of it. When I refused, he blocked my number and disappeared. I haven't heard from him since. That must have been incredibly difficult. It was the second worst day of my life, right after the day Amara was born so early and I thought I might lose her. Tanya took a sip of her latte, the sweetness helping to wash away the bitter taste of those memories. But honestly, I'm glad he left. Anyone who could abandon their own child doesn't deserve to be part of her life. Amara and I are better off without him. Still, raising a child alone is hard. My mother did it and I watched her sacrifice everything. You shouldn't have to do this alone. I'm not alone anymore, Tanya said softly. I have this job. I have new friends like Brielle. I have you to thank for all of it. You've given me more in 1 week than anyone else has in the past year. Logan looked uncomfortable with the praise. I just did what anyone should have done. But most people wouldn't have. Most people would have ignored a wrong number text or maybe sent some money and moved on. You showed up at midnight. You paid off my medical debt. You gave me a job and changed my entire life. That's not normal, Logan. That's extraordinary. My mother always said that if you have the ability to help someone, you have the responsibility to do it. I have resources most people don't. Using them to make someone's life better, that's not extraordinary. That's just being human. They talked for over an hour, the conversation flowing easily from topic to topic. Logan told stories about building his company from scratch, about the failures and frustrations along the way. Tanya shared memories of her childhood in a small town outside the city, about her dreams of becoming a nurse before life got complicated. You can still become a nurse, Logan said. The tuition reimbursement program is real. If you want to go back to school, I'll make sure you have the support you need to make it happen. I've been thinking about it. But with Amara so young, I don't know how I would manage classes and work and being a mom. You'd figure it out. You're resourceful. And you wouldn't be doing it alone. We have flexible scheduling for employees pursuing education. You could arrange your work hours around your class schedule. The daycare operates late if you need it. There are solutions to every obstacle. The only question is whether you want it badly enough to try. Tanya felt something shift inside her. For so long, she had convinced herself that her dreams were dead, that being a single mother meant giving up on everything she had once wanted for herself. But Logan was right. The obstacles were real, but they weren't insurmountable anymore. Not with the resources she now had access to. I want it, she said. I want to be a nurse. I want Amara to grow up seeing her mother pursue her dreams. I want to show her that setbacks don't mean giving up. Then you'll do it. I have no doubt. As they left the cafe together, Tanya felt a connection to Logan that went beyond gratitude. He saw her not as a charity case or a struggling single mother, but as a capable person with potential. He believed in her in a way that made her believe in herself. Thank you for the coffee, Tanya said as they reached the street corner where they would part ways. Anytime. I mean that. If you ever need anything or just want to talk, you can text me. Or call. Whatever works for you. I appreciate that. Same goes for you, by the way. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. Logan smiled, a genuine warmth in his eyes. I might take you up on that. Sometimes it's lonely at the top. Most people either want something from me or they're intimidated by me. It's nice to talk to someone who sees me as just Logan. You are just Logan. A very generous, very kind version of Logan, but still just a person. Exactly. That's why I like talking to you. You don't treat me differently because of my money or my position. You're real with me. That's rare. They said goodbye, and Tanya walked back to the office feeling lighter than she had in years. She picked up Amara from daycare, and on the bus ride home she thought about everything Logan had said. About pursuing her nursing dreams. About not being alone anymore. About being seen as capable. That night, after putting Amara to bed, Tanya pulled out her laptop and started researching nursing programs. She looked at admission requirements, class schedules, and costs. With the tuition reimbursement program Logan had mentioned, she could actually afford it. With the flexible work schedule, she could manage it. She filled out the preliminary application to the community college's nursing program, her hands shaking slightly as she typed. This was real. She was doing this. She was taking control of her life and building the future she wanted for herself and her daughter. Before she hit submit, she texted Logan, "I just applied to nursing school. Thank you for believing in me." His response came quickly, "I knew you would. Congratulations, Tanya. This is just the beginning." Tanya smiled at her phone, feeling a warmth in her chest that had nothing to do with gratitude and everything to do with the growing connection she felt to the man who had changed her life. She told herself not to read too much into it, to keep things professional, to remember that he was her boss and completely out of her league. But as she drifted off to sleep that night, She couldn't help but imagine what it might be like if Logan's kindness meant something more than just a good man helping someone in need. She pushed the thought away, reminding herself that fairy tales didn't happen to women like her. Still, as she fell asleep, she allowed herself to hope. Because if wrong number texts could lead to new jobs and paid-off medical bills, maybe impossible things were more possible than she had ever believed. 3 weeks into her new job, Tanya had fully settled into a routine that felt almost normal. She woke up at 6, got herself and Amara ready, caught the 7:15 bus downtown, dropped Amara at daycare by 8, and was at her desk by 8:15. The work was engaging without being overwhelming, and she found that she was good at it. Customers responded well to her calm, patient demeanor, and her problem-solving skills were sharp from years of having to make do with limited resources. Brielle had become a real friend, not just a supervisor. They ate lunch together most days, and Brielle had started inviting Tanya to after-work activities with some of the other women on their team. Tanya had declined most invitations, not having childcare for evening events, but Brielle was understanding and never made her feel bad about it. "You know," Brielle said one afternoon as they ate salads in the cafeteria, "you've really impressed everyone. Rachel from HR told me yesterday that you have the highest customer satisfaction ratings of any new hire in the past year." Tanya felt a flush of pride. "Really? Really? You're a natural at this. Have you thought about what you want to do long-term? Customer service is great, but with your skills, you could move into management or training roles if you wanted." "Honestly, I'm still focused on just getting through each day successfully. Long-term planning feels overwhelming." "Fair enough, but keep it in mind. This company promotes from within and you have real potential." Brielle paused, then lowered her voice conspiratorially. "Speaking of potential, have you talked to Logan lately?" Tanya's heart skipped. "Not really. We exchanged a few texts about work stuff, but nothing substantial." "Why?" "Because he asks about you. A lot. He stopped by our department twice last week, which he never does. And both times I caught him looking over at your desk. I think someone has a crush." "Don't be ridiculous. He's just checking in on a new employee. He probably does that with everyone." Brielle laughed. "Girl, I've worked here for 5 years. Logan is professional and distant with most employees. Friendly, yes, but there's a clear boundary. With you it's different. Anyone can see it. You're imagining things. Maybe. Or maybe you're in denial because the idea of your boss being interested in you is terrifying." Tanya didn't respond because Brielle was right. The idea was terrifying, not because she didn't feel anything for Logan, but because she felt too much. Over the past few weeks, she had caught herself thinking about him constantly. The way he smiled when he saw her in the hallways. The thoughtful texts he sent checking on Amara. The way he had believed in her when she barely believed in herself. But Logan was a billionaire CEO, and she was a single mother living in a studio apartment with medical debt that had only recently been cleared. They existed in different worlds, and Tanya knew better than to let herself get caught up in fantasies that would never become reality. That Friday afternoon, Bennett Tech Solutions hosted a family day for employees. The event was held in a large park near the office, with food trucks, games for kids, and activities for families. Brielle had convinced Tanya to attend, promising it would be fun and that Amara would love it. Tanya dressed Amara in an adorable pink dress with white flowers and put on her own green sundress, one of the few nice outfits she owned. When they arrived at the park, it was already crowded with employees and their families. Children ran around playing tag while adults chatted in groups. It felt warm and community-oriented in a way Tanya hadn't expected from a corporate event. "Tanya, over here." Brielle waved from a picnic table where she was sitting with her husband Miguel and their 2 children. Tanya joined them, and Miguel immediately started making faces at Amara, who giggled with delight. "Your daughter is precious," Miguel said. "How old?" 7 months now. "She's growing so fast." "They always do. Enjoy this age while it lasts. Before you know it, they'll be teenagers giving you attitude." Miguel grinned at his own kids, who rolled their eyes in that universal teenager way. Tanya was feeding Amara some pureed sweet potato when she felt someone's presence beside her. She looked up to find Logan standing there, holding a plate of food from one of the trucks. "Mind if I join you?" he asked. "Of course not," Brielle said before Tanya could respond, scooting over to make room. Boss man finally emerging from his office to mingle with the common folk. Logan laughed. "I mingle. Sometimes." "When was the last time you came to one of these events?" "This is the first one I've attended in 3 years, Logan admitted. "I'm usually too busy with work. But I decided it was time to change that." He sat down next to Tanya, and she was acutely aware of how close their shoulders were, of the warmth radiating from him. Logan immediately focused on Amara, who was staring at him with her big brown eyes. "Hey there, little one. Remember me?" Logan reached out a finger and Amara grabbed it with her tiny hand, holding on tight. "I think she does. She's usually shy around strangers," Tanya said, surprised. "She must like you. Smart baby. She knows a good guy when she sees one," Brielle interjected with a knowing smile. Miguel elbowed her lightly and she laughed. Over the next hour, Tanya watched Logan interact with her daughter with a gentleness that made her heart ache. He was patient when Amara grabbed his sunglasses and tried to chew on them. He made silly faces that had her giggling. He seemed completely comfortable and natural with her, not at all like someone who had no experience with babies. "You're good with kids," Tanya observed. "Do you have nieces or nephews?" "No, I'm an only child. But my mother ran a home daycare when I was growing up. I spent a lot of time around babies and toddlers. I guess some of it stuck." "You should have kids of your own someday. You'd be a great father." Something flickered across Logan's face, an emotion Tanya couldn't quite identify. "Maybe someday. If I find the right person to have them with." Their eyes met, and for a moment, everything else faded away. The noise of the park, the other people, all of it disappeared, and there was just the two of them in this moment of connection that felt like something more than friendship. Brielle's voice broke the spell. "Okay, kids, let's go get ice cream from the truck over there before the line gets too long." She stood up, gathering her family. "Miguel, come on. Tanya and Logan, you two stay here with Amara. We'll be back in a bit." The message was clear. Brielle was giving them space. Tanya felt a mix of gratitude and terror. Once they were alone, Logan turned to face Tanya more fully. "Can I be honest with you about something?" "Of course. I didn't come to this event because I suddenly decided to be more social. I came because I knew you would be here and I wanted to see you. Outside of the office. In a setting where we could just be two people spending time together." Tanya's breath caught. "Logan. I know this is complicated. I'm your boss. There are power dynamics and professional boundaries, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable. But I also don't want to pretend that I don't feel something when I'm around you. Since the night we met, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. About your strength, your resilience, your kindness even when life has been unkind to you. You're remarkable, Tanya. And I want to get to know you better if you're open to that." Tanya felt like her heart was going to beat out of her chest. "You're a billionaire CEO. I'm a single mother who lives paycheck to paycheck. We're from completely different worlds. Money doesn't create worlds. It just creates illusions of separation. Underneath all of that, we're just two people. You've seen me for who I am, not what I have. That's rare. That's precious. And I see you, Tanya. I see how hard you work, how much you love your daughter, how you never complain even when things are difficult. I see you and I want to be part of your life. If you'll let me." "What are you asking?" "I'm asking if I can take you to dinner. A real date. Not coffee as your boss checking in, but dinner as a man who's interested in getting to know a woman he can't stop thinking about." Tanya looked at Amara, who was playing contentedly with a soft toy, oblivious to the life-changing conversation happening above her. She thought about all the reasons this was a bad idea. The professional complications. The differences in their backgrounds. The risk of getting hurt when reality eventually intruded on whatever this was. But then she thought about how Logan had shown up at midnight when she needed help. How he had believed in her when she barely believed in herself. How he looked at Amara with such genuine affection. How he made her feel seen and valued in a way no one else ever had. "Okay," she said softly. "Yes. I would like to go to dinner with you." Logan's smile was brilliant, transforming his entire face. "Really? Really? But Logan, I need you to understand something. I'm not looking for a sugar daddy or someone to solve all my problems. If we do this, if we explore whatever this is between us, it needs to be real. I need you to want me for me, not because you feel sorry for me or because you want to rescue me. Tanya, I stopped seeing you as someone who needed rescuing about 5 minutes after I met you. What I see is a capable, intelligent, beautiful woman who has faced impossible challenges and kept moving forward. That's not someone who needs rescuing. That's someone I want beside me. As an equal. As a partner. That's what I'm asking for." "Then yes. Let's try this." Logan reached for her hand and Tanya let him take it. His palm was warm against hers, and the simple touch felt significant in a way that made her realize this was real. This was happening. When Brielle returned with ice cream, she took one look at them holding hands and grinned. "Finally. I thought you two were going to dance around this for months." "You're not subtle," Miguel told his wife. "Subtlety is overrated. Life's too short. When you see two people who clearly like each other, you help them along. Brielle handed Tanya a cup of ice cream. So, when's the first date? Tomorrow night, Logan said. If that works for you? He looked at Tanya questioningly. I'll need to arrange childcare. My mother-in-law owes me a favor, Brielle jumped in. She's great with babies and would love to watch Amara for a few hours. Consider it handled. Tanya laughed, feeling overwhelmed but happy. Okay then. Tomorrow night. The rest of the family day passed in a pleasant blur. Logan stayed with them, and Tanya noticed how comfortable he seemed, not just with her and Amara, but with Brielle's family too. He was down to earth and genuine, asking Miguel about his work as a teacher and playing with Brielle's kids without any self-consciousness. As the sun began to set and families started packing up to leave, Logan walked Tanya to her bus stop, carrying Amara while Tanya gathered their things. I'll pick you up tomorrow at 7, Logan said. Text me your address. You already know my address. You showed up there at midnight, remember? Logan smiled sheepishly. Right. 7 o'clock then. Wear something comfortable. It's going to be casual, nothing fancy. I don't really own anything fancy anyway. Good. I prefer it that way. The best restaurants in the city are the little neighborhood places that tourists never find. That's where we're going. After Logan left, Tanya sat on the bus holding Amara, feeling like she was living in someone else's life. A month ago, she had been at rock bottom, texting desperately for help to feed her baby. Now she had a good job, financial stability, friends, and a date with a man who made her feel things she had convinced herself she would never feel again. Your mama is going on a date, sweet girl, she whispered to Amara. With a really good man. A really, really good man. I'm scared out of my mind, but I'm going to try. Because if I've learned anything this past month, it's that good things can happen when you're brave enough to accept help and take chances. Amara cooed softly, her small hand reaching up to touch Tanya's face, and Tanya felt a surge of love so powerful it brought tears to her eyes. Everything she did, every risk she took was for this little girl. To build a better life for her. To show her that single mothers could thrive, not just survive. That kindness existed in the world. That love was worth pursuing even when it was scary. That night, after Amara was asleep, Tanya stood in front of her small closet trying to figure out what to wear on a date with a billionaire. She settled on a simple blue dress that she had worn to a job interview years ago. It was the nicest thing she owned and it would have to do. As she got ready for bed, her phone buzzed with a text from Logan. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Sleep well. Tanya smiled, typing back. Me too. Good night, Logan. She lay in bed, unable to sleep, her mind racing with thoughts and possibilities. For the first time in longer than she could remember, Tanya Robinson was allowing herself to hope for something beyond basic survival. She was allowing herself to hope for happiness. For connection. For love. And maybe, just maybe, the universe was finally giving her a break. Maybe the wrong number text hadn't been a mistake at all. Maybe it had been exactly what was supposed to happen. A random act of desperation leading to a man who would change everything. Tanya closed her eyes, holding on to that hope like a lifeline, and let herself drift off to sleep with a smile on her face and warmth in her heart. Saturday evening arrived with clear skies and a gentle breeze. Tanya had spent most of the day in a state of nervous energy, cleaning her already clean apartment, playing with Amara, and checking the clock every 15 minutes. Brielle had texted in the afternoon, Miguel's mom will be there at 6:30. She's excited to meet Amara. Now stop panicking and enjoy yourself tonight. You deserve this. Tanya had responded with a heart emoji, grateful for her friend's support even as her stomach churned with anxiety. She hadn't been on a date in over 2 years. The last person she had dated was Jerome, and that relationship had ended in abandonment and heartbreak. The idea of opening herself up to someone new, especially someone like Logan, felt terrifying and thrilling in equal measure. At 6:15, Tanya finished getting ready. She had chosen the blue dress, paired with simple silver earrings and comfortable shoes. Her hair was down, falling in soft waves past her shoulders. She had applied minimal makeup, just enough to feel put together without looking like she was trying too hard. Amara was fed, changed, and in a good mood, playing happily with her toys in the living room area. When the knock came at 6:30, Tanya opened the door to find a warm, grandmotherly woman with silver hair and kind eyes standing there holding a bag that seemed to contain every possible baby supply. You must be Tanya. I'm Rosa, Brielle's mother-in-law. Where's this precious angel I've been hearing about? Rosa swept into the apartment with the confidence of someone who had raised multiple children and knew exactly what she was doing. She immediately sat down on the floor with Amara, introducing herself in both English and Spanish, making the baby giggle with delight. "We're going to be best friends tonight, aren't we, sweetheart?" Rosa cooed. She looked up at Tanya. "Go. Have fun on your date. Don't worry about a thing. I raised 4 kids and have 7 grandchildren. We'll be perfectly fine." Tanya went through all of Amara's information, the emergency contacts, the feeding schedule, but Rosa waved her off gently. "Honey, I know. Brielle told me everything. And you'll only be a phone call away if I need anything, which I won't. Now go before you're late." At exactly 7 there was another knock on the door. Tanya opened it to find Logan standing there, and her breath caught. He was dressed casually in dark jeans and a green button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows. He held a small bouquet of sunflowers, bright and cheerful. "You look beautiful," Logan said, his eyes warm as they took her in. "Thank you. You look really nice too." Tanya accepted the flowers, feeling touched by the gesture. "These are lovely. I would have brought roses, but sunflowers seemed more like you. Bright and strong and cheerful even when things are tough." Tanya felt her heart melt a little. She quickly put the flowers in water and said goodbye to Amara, who was completely content with Rosa and barely noticed her mother leaving. Logan's car was parked on the street, a nice sedan that was expensive but not ostentatious. He opened the door for her, and as they drove through the city, Tanya felt herself starting to relax. Logan was easy to talk to, asking questions about her week and sharing funny stories about customer service disasters at his company. "Where are we going?" Tanya asked after about 15 minutes. "You'll see. Trust me?" "I do." They ended up in a neighborhood Tanya had never visited, filled with small local businesses and tree-lined streets. Logan parked in front of a tiny Italian restaurant called Mama Rosa's. The windows glowed with warm light, and the smell of garlic and fresh bread wafted out onto the sidewalk. "This is my favorite place in the whole city," Logan said as they walked inside. "My mother used to bring me here when I was a kid. It's family-owned, 3 generations. The food is incredible and they treat everyone like family." The interior was cozy and intimate, with mismatched chairs and walls covered in old photographs. An elderly Italian woman emerged from the kitchen, her face lighting up when she saw Logan. "Logan, my boy. It's been too long." She hugged him tightly, then turned to Tanya with interest. "And who is this beautiful young lady?" "Mama Rosa, this is Tanya." "Tanya, this is the best cook in the entire state and the woman who taught me that food made with love tastes different than food made just to eat." "Oh, you charmer." Mama Rosa pinched Logan's cheek affectionately, then took both of Tanya's hands in hers. "Welcome, sweetheart. Any friend of Logan's is family here. Come sit. I'll bring you the good stuff." They were seated at a corner table with a candle flickering between them. Mama Rosa disappeared into the kitchen, and soon plates of food began arriving. Bruschetta with fresh tomatoes and basil. Handmade pasta with a meat sauce that tasted like it had been simmering for hours. Perfectly seasoned chicken cutlets. Fresh bread with olive oil for dipping. "This is amazing," Tanya said after her first bite of pasta. "You weren't kidding about the food." Mama Rosa's secret is that she actually cares about every person she feeds. She doesn't cook for business. She cooks for love. As they ate, the conversation flowed naturally. Logan asked about Tanya's childhood, and she told him about growing up in a small town where everyone knew everyone else's business. About summer days spent at the local swimming hole and Friday night football games that the whole town attended. About her mother's strength after her father's health started failing. "It sounds nice," Logan said. "Close-knit. I grew up in a neighborhood where everyone was struggling just to survive. Community existed, but it was born from necessity, not choice. People helped each other because we had to. My mother worked 3 jobs. I barely saw her some weeks. But she made sure I had food and clothes and school supplies, even if it meant she went without." "You've talked about your mother a lot. She sounds like she was an incredible person." "She was. She died 5 years ago and I still miss her every day. She never got to see the success of the company. She never got to relax and enjoy life. By the time I had money to help her, to take care of her, it was too late. The cancer was aggressive. She was gone within 4 months of diagnosis." Tanya reached across the table and took Logan's hand. "I'm so sorry." "Thank you. It's why I do what I do now. Why I help people when I can. It's my way of honoring her memory. She would have loved you, by the way. She always said the measure of a person wasn't what they had, but what they did when they had nothing. You embody that." They talked for hours, losing track of time as the restaurant slowly emptied around them. Logan shared stories about building his company from scratch, about the failures and near bankruptcies, about the moment when things finally turned around. Tanya opened up about her struggles after Jerome left, about the loneliness of single motherhood, about the fear that she was failing Amara by not being able to provide enough. "You're not failing her," Logan said firmly. "You're teaching her resilience. You're showing her what it means to keep fighting even when everything is hard. Those lessons matter more than material things ever could." When Mama Rosa brought out dessert, homemade tiramisu, she also brought 2 small glasses of limoncello. "On the house," she said with a wink. "For love." She walked away before either of them could protest the implication. Tanya laughed, feeling her cheeks warm. "Is she always this direct?" "Always. She's been trying to set me up with various granddaughters and nieces for years. This is the first time I've actually brought someone here on a date." "Really? Why?" "Because no one felt right before. No one felt real. Most women I've met in the past few years were more interested in what I could provide than who I actually was. They saw the money, the position, the potential lifestyle. But you see me? Just Logan. The guy whose mom raised him alone. The guy who still remembers what it was like to be hungry. The guy who's still trying to figure out what success actually means beyond bank balances and profit margins. I do see you. And I like what I see." Logan's eyes held hers across the table, the candlelight casting soft shadows on his face. "I like what I see too. Very much." After dinner, they drove through the city with no particular destination in mind. Logan showed Tanya places that had meaning to him. The library where he had spent countless hours as a teenager, teaching himself to code. The park where his mother used to bring him for picnics with whatever food they could afford. The apartment building where they had lived, now renovated and expensive, but still carrying memories in every brick. "I bought that building 2 years ago," Logan admitted as they sat in the parked car looking up at it. "I couldn't stand the thought of someone else owning it. The landlord when I was a kid was terrible. So I bought it, fixed it up, and now I rent the units at below market rates to families who need affordable housing. My old apartment, the one my mom and I lived in, I kept empty. Sometimes I go there and sit on the floor and remember what it was like. It keeps me grounded." "Can I see it?" Tanya asked impulsively. Logan looked surprised. "Really? It's just an empty apartment. I want to see where you came from. I want to understand that part of you." He nodded slowly, then got out of the car and led her inside. The building was clean and well-maintained now, with fresh paint and good lighting. They took the stairs to the 3rd floor, and Logan unlocked a door at the end of the hallway. The apartment was indeed empty, but it was clean and clearly cared for. It was small, much smaller than Tanya's current place. 1 bedroom, a tiny kitchen, a bathroom with outdated fixtures, and a living space that couldn't have been more than 10 by 12 feet. "My mom slept in the bedroom. I slept on a pull-out couch right here." Logan pointed to the middle of the living room. "We couldn't afford much furniture. What we had was all secondhand. But my mom made it feel like home. She put up curtains she sewed herself. She painted the walls. She made this space feel safe and warm despite everything we lacked." Tanya walked through the apartment slowly, imagining a young Logan doing homework at a small table, a tired but determined woman coming home late from work. She understood this space in a way she never could have if she hadn't lived her own version of it. "Thank you for showing me this," she said. "For trusting me with this part of your story. Thank you for wanting to see it. Most people don't understand why I would keep an empty apartment. They think it's wasteful or strange. But you get it. I do. It's a reminder of where you started. A way to honor your mother and stay connected to the person you were before success changed things." "Exactly." They stood together in the empty living room, and Tanya felt the weight of shared understanding settling between them. They came from the same world, understood the same struggles, carried the same scars. The connection she felt to Logan wasn't just attraction. It was recognition. A sense of finding someone who understood without needing lengthy explanations. Logan drove Tanya home around 11. When they pulled up to her building, he walked her to her door, and they stood in the hallway outside her apartment, neither quite ready for the evening to end. "Thank you for tonight," Tanya said. "It was perfect. Thank you for saying yes. For giving us a chance. I'm glad I did." Logan reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind Tanya's ear, his touch gentle. "Can I take you out again? Soon. I'd like that." He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. She didn't. Their lips met in a kiss that was soft and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Tanya was smiling, her heart full of a lightness she hadn't felt in years. "Good night, Tanya." "Good night, Logan." She slipped inside to find Rosa watching television quietly with a sleeping Amara in her arms. Rosa smiled knowingly. Good date? The best, Tanya admitted. After Rosa left, Tanya put Amara in her crib and got ready for bed. As she lay in the darkness, she replayed the evening in her mind. The easy conversation, the vulnerability Logan had shown her, the kiss that had made her feel 17 again. Her phone buzzed with a text from Logan. I can't stop smiling. Thank you for tonight. Sweet dreams. Tanya typed back, me neither. Thank you for dinner and for showing me your mom's apartment. It meant a lot. Sweet dreams. She fell asleep with her phone still in her hand, a smile on her face, and hope blooming in her chest like flowers reaching toward the sun. Whatever this was between her and Logan, it felt real. It felt right. And for the first time since Jerome had left, Tanya allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, love was possible again. And maybe this time it would be the kind of love that lasted. The kind built on mutual respect and understanding. The kind that made you better instead of breaking you down. The kind worth fighting for. Tomorrow she would wake up and be a mother again, an employee, a woman with responsibilities and bills and a life to manage. But tonight, just for tonight, she let herself be simply Tanya. A woman on a date with a man who saw her, truly saw her, and liked what he found. It was enough. More than enough. It was everything. 3 weeks passed in a blur of happiness that Tanya had never experienced before. She and Logan had settled into a comfortable rhythm. They texted throughout the day, sharing small moments and inside jokes. They had dinner together twice a week, sometimes at nice restaurants, sometimes picking up takeout and eating in the park while Amara played nearby. Logan had become a regular presence in Tanya's life, and more importantly in Amara's life. Her daughter adored him. Amara's face would light up whenever Logan entered a room, her little arms reaching for him. Logan was patient and gentle with her, reading board books and funny voices, playing peekaboo until Amara dissolved into giggles, holding her with a confidence that spoke of genuine affection rather than obligation. At work, Tanya continued to excel. She had been promoted to senior customer care specialist, which came with a small raise and additional responsibilities she handled with ease. Brielle was thrilled, claiming she had known all along that Tanya was management material. You and Logan are getting pretty serious, Brielle observed one lunch break. He's been different lately. Happier. More present. That's because of you. Tanya smiled. I'm happy too. Happier than I've been in years. Feels almost too good to be true sometimes. Like I'm waiting for something to go wrong. Don't do that. Don't sabotage your own happiness by expecting disaster. Sometimes good things happen to good people. You deserve this, Tanya. But life has a way of testing happiness just when you start to believe in it. It was a Thursday evening around 6:30. Tanya had just gotten home with Amara and was starting dinner when there was a knock on her door. She wasn't expecting anyone. Logan was working late on a major client proposal. Through the peephole, she saw a man she hadn't seen in over a year. A man she never wanted to see again. Jerome. Tanya's blood turned cold. Her hands shook as she debated whether to open the door. Part of her wanted to pretend she wasn't home, but she could hear Amara babbling in the background, and Jerome had probably already heard her too. She opened the door but kept the chain lock attached. What do you want? Jerome looked different than she remembered. He had grown a beard, and his eyes had a hardness to them that hadn't been there before. He was dressed in new clothes, expensive-looking sneakers and a designer jacket. I want to see my daughter. Your daughter? You haven't wanted anything to do with her for over a year. You abandoned us. You don't get to just show up now and make demands. I made a mistake, all right? I was young and scared. But I've changed. I have a job now, a good one. I can provide for her. I want to be part of her life. No. You can't keep me from my own child. I have rights. You gave up any rights you had when you told me to get an abortion and then blocked my number. You haven't paid a single dollar of child support. You haven't sent so much as a birthday card. You don't get to waltz back in now and play daddy. Jerome's expression hardened. I'm not asking, Tanya. I'm telling you. I want shared custody. My lawyer says I have a case. So you can do this the easy way and let me see Amara voluntarily, or we can do it in court. Your choice. Get out. Don't come back here. I'll see you in court then. Jerome turned and walked away and Tanya slammed the door shut, her whole body trembling. She sank to the floor, her back against the door, trying to control the panic that was rising in her chest. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not when things were finally going right. Jerome couldn't take Amara from her. He couldn't. Amara started crying from her bouncer, sensing her mother's distress. Tanya forced herself to stand up, to go to her daughter, to hold her close and try to project calm even though she felt anything but calm inside. She called Logan. He answered on the first ring. Hey, I was just thinking about you. How was your day? Logan, I need help. Her voice broke and she started crying. What's wrong? What happened? Between sobs, Tanya told him about Jerome's visit, about his threats to take her to court for custody. Logan listened without interrupting, and when she finished, his voice was steady and reassuring. Okay. First breathe. You're going to be okay. He's not going to take Amara from you. How do you know? He said he has a lawyer. He said he has rights. He has limited rights at best. He abandoned you during pregnancy. He hasn't been involved in Amara's life. He hasn't provided financial support. Any judge will see that. But we're not leaving this to chance. I'm coming over right now. And I'm calling the best family lawyer in the state. We're going to handle this together. You don't have to do this. This is my problem. Tanya, stop. We're together, right? That means your problems are my problems. I'm not letting you face this alone. I'm on my way. He arrived 20 minutes later, still in his work clothes, carrying a bag of takeout that he had somehow found time to pick up. You need to eat. When was the last time you ate? I don't remember. Then eat now. He set up the food on her small kitchen table while Tanya held Amara, who had finally calmed down. I called Diane Foster. She's the top family attorney in the state. She's meeting us at my office tomorrow morning at 9. We're going to lay out everything and she's going to tell us exactly what to expect and how to prepare. Logan, I can't afford a top family attorney. Good thing I can. This is not up for debate, Tanya. I'm paying for the lawyer. You can be angry about it later, but right now we need to focus on protecting Amara. Tanya wanted to argue, but the exhaustion and fear were overwhelming. She nodded and let Logan take care of things. He fed her dinner while she held Amara. He cleaned up afterward. He ran a bath for Tanya while he played with Amara in the living room. When Tanya emerged from the bathroom feeling slightly more human, she found Logan sitting on the floor with Amara, reading her favorite book in his funny voices while Amara giggled and grabbed at the pages. The sight made Tanya's heart clench. This man, this wonderful man who had come into her life by accident, was here in her tiny apartment reading to her daughter while she dealt with a crisis. This was real. This mattered. Thank you, she said softly. Logan looked up, his smile gentle. You don't have to thank me. This is what you do for people you care about. You show up. That night, Logan stayed over, sleeping on the couch after Tanya finally fell into an exhausted sleep in her bed. When she woke up at 3 in the morning from a nightmare about losing Amara, Logan was there immediately, holding her while she cried. He's not taking her, Logan repeated. I promise you, Tanya. We're going to fight this and we're going to win. The next morning they met with Diane Foster at Logan's office. Diane was in her 50s, professionally dressed in a red suit, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She listened carefully as Tanya explained the situation, taking detailed notes. Okay, Diane said when Tanya finished. Here's the reality. Jerome does have the right to petition for custody or visitation as Amara's biological father. However, his case is extremely weak. He abandoned you during pregnancy. He has not been involved in Amara's life. He has not provided financial support. He essentially gave up all parental involvement voluntarily. Now, a year later, he suddenly wants to be a father? Any judge is going to question his motives and his commitment. What's the worst-case scenario? Tanya asked. Worst case, a judge grants him some form of supervised visitation to see if he's actually serious about being involved. But even that is unlikely given the facts. More likely, his petition is denied, or he's required to establish a pattern of consistent interest and support before any visitation is even considered. You have all the power here, Tanya. You've been the sole parent, the sole provider. You have documentation of his abandonment. We can win this easily. What do I need to do? Document everything. Any communication with Jerome, keep records. Don't block him or refuse reasonable requests for information about Amara. That could look bad. But you don't have to grant him access. If he threatens you or harasses you, we document that too. I'll file a response to whatever petition he files, and we'll present your case clearly. With your history and current situation, plus character witnesses and proof of stable parenting, you'll be fine. Tanya felt some of the fear ease. Thank you. One more thing, Diane said, glancing between Tanya and Logan. The fact that you have a stable relationship, that Amara has positive male role models in her life, that only strengthens your position. If Jerome tries to claim that Amara needs a father figure, we can demonstrate she already has one. After the meeting, Logan drove Tanya to work. She was quiet, processing everything Diane had said. "Are you okay?" Logan asked. "I'm scared. But less scared than yesterday. Thank you for getting Diane. For being there. Always. Hey, I need to tell you something." "What?" "I meant what Diane implied in there. About being a father figure to Amara. I know we've only been together a few weeks and this might be too soon to say, but I care about both of you. Deeply. This isn't casual for me, Tanya. I'm all in. And if Jerome wants to fight for Amara, he's going to have to get through me first." Tanya felt tears well up again, but they were good tears this time. "Logan, you don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know where I stand. Whatever happens with Jerome, whatever obstacles come up, I'm not going anywhere." Tanya leaned over and kissed him, pouring all her gratitude and affection and growing love into that kiss. When they pulled apart, Logan rested his forehead against hers. "We're going to get through this," he whispered. "Together," Tanya agreed. Over the next few weeks, Jerome did indeed file a custody petition. Diane handled all the legal responses, and as predicted, Jerome's case was weak. He claimed he had turned his life around and wanted to be a father, but he couldn't provide evidence of sustained interest or stability. His new job turned out to be questionable and his references were poor. Through it all, Logan was a constant presence. He came to every meeting with Diane. He held Tanya when the stress became overwhelming. He played with Amara and kept things as normal as possible for the baby who had no idea that her existence was at the center of a legal battle. One evening, after another tense meeting, Logan and Tanya were sitting on her couch, Amara asleep in her crib. Tanya was leaning against Logan, exhausted. "I keep thinking about what my life was like a few months ago," she said quietly. "I was barely holding it together. I couldn't even afford formula for my baby. I felt like I was drowning. And now I have you. I have this job. I have security. I have people fighting for me. How did this happen?" "You sent a text to a wrong number," Logan said simply. "And I answered. Best mistake I ever made. Best thing that ever happened to me." They sat in comfortable silence for a while before Logan spoke again. "Tanya, when this custody thing is resolved, when the stress dies down, I want to talk about our future. About what comes next for us." "What do you mean?" "I mean I don't want to just be your boyfriend who sleeps on your couch sometimes. I want more. I want to wake up with you. I want to help put Amara to bed every night. I want to build a life together, a real life. But I know it's too soon to talk about that seriously right now. So I'm just putting it out there. When things calm down, we need to have that conversation." Tanya turned to look at him, her eyes searching his face. "You really mean that?" "Every word." "Okay. When things calm down, we'll talk. About everything. About what we want and where we're going. Because Logan, I want that too. More than I thought I could want anything again." He kissed her forehead, and they sat together in the quiet apartment, two people who had found each other in the most unexpected way, facing the future together with hope and determination. Jerome's case never made it to trial. Diane's responses were so thorough, and the evidence of his abandonment so clear, that his lawyer advised him to withdraw the petition. He did, though not without sending Tanya a bitter message about how she had turned everyone against him and how she would regret keeping him from his daughter. Tanya blocked his number after that. Diane assured her that any future attempts by Jerome to gain custody would be even less successful now that he had filed and withdrawn once already. The threat was over. Amara was safe. When Diane called with the news that Jerome had officially withdrawn his petition, Tanya cried with relief. She called Logan immediately, and he left work early to come celebrate with her. They picked up Amara from daycare and went to the park, just the three of them, enjoying the afternoon sunshine and the feeling of crisis averted. As Tanya watched Logan push Amara on the baby swing, both of them laughing, she felt a sense of rightness settle over her. This was her family. Not because of biology or legal documents, but because of choice and love and commitment. Logan had chosen them. He had shown up when things were hard and stood by them without hesitation. That was what family really meant. Not blood. Not obligation. But choice. Choosing to show up. Choosing to stay. Choosing to love even when it was complicated and difficult. And as the sun began to set over the park, Tanya allowed herself to fully believe what her heart had been whispering for weeks. She was falling in love with Logan Bennett. And maybe, just maybe, he was falling in love with her too. The future suddenly looked brighter than it ever had before. Full of possibility and promise. Full of hope. And for Tanya Robinson, who had spent so long just trying to survive, the chance to actually thrive was the greatest gift of all. The weeks following Jerome's withdrawal were some of the best of Tanya's life. Without the constant stress of the custody threat hanging over her, she found herself able to fully enjoy the good things that had come into her world. Her relationship with Logan deepened with each passing day. They had fallen into a comfortable pattern of spending most evenings together, either at her apartment or at Logan's place, which was a beautiful loft downtown that somehow managed to feel like home despite its size and luxury. Amara was thriving. At 9 months old, she was pulling herself up on furniture, babbling constantly, and showing a personality that was equal parts sweet and stubborn. She had two favorite people in the world, her mother and Logan. The bond between Logan and Amara had grown so strong that sometimes Tanya would catch them having what looked like serious conversations, with Amara babbling and Logan responding as if he understood every word. One Saturday morning, Tanya woke up in Logan's bed to find his side empty. She could hear him talking softly in the living room, and when she patted out, she found him sitting on the floor with Amara, who must have woken up early. He was still in his sleep clothes, his hair messy, building a tower of blocks while Amara gleefully knocked them down again and again. "Morning," Tanya said, leaning against the doorframe. Logan looked up, his face breaking into a smile. "Morning. Sorry, she woke up about 20 minutes ago. I didn't want her to wake you, so I brought her out here." "You didn't have to do that. I would have gotten her." "I know. But I wanted to. We were having an important discussion about the structural integrity of block towers, weren't we, Amara?" Amara squealed and knocked down another tower, delighted with herself. Tanya watched them play, her heart so full it almost hurt. This was what family looked like. This was what love looked like. Not grand gestures or expensive gifts, though Logan had given plenty of those. But the small moments. The getting up early with a baby so your partner could sleep. The patience to build and rebuild the same tower 20 times because it made a child laugh. Later that day, after they had breakfast and took Amara to the Children's Museum, Logan suggested they stop by his office. "There's something I want to show you. A project I've been working on." At the Bennett Tech Solutions building, most of the offices were empty on a Saturday, but Logan led Tanya and Amara up to the top floor, where his executive office was located. It was a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of the city. But Logan didn't stop there. He opened a door at the back of his office that Tanya had assumed was a closet, revealing a smaller but beautifully decorated space. "I had this set up a few weeks ago," Logan said, looking slightly nervous. "It's a mother's room. For nursing mothers who need privacy. But I was also thinking it could be your office. If you wanted it." Tanya stepped inside, stunned. The room had a comfortable chair, a small desk, a mini fridge and soft lighting. There was even a changing table and a basket of baby supplies. "Logan, this is beautiful. But why would I need an office?" "Because I want to offer you a position. Director of Customer Experience. It's a new role, one I created specifically with you in mind. You've shown incredible talent in customer service. Your ratings are the highest in the department, and more importantly, you understand what our customers need because you've been in their shoes. You know what it's like to struggle, to need help, to deal with systems that don't always work the way they should. That perspective is invaluable. Logan, I've only been here a few months. I'm not qualified to be a director. You're absolutely qualified. You have the skills, the work ethic, and the empathy. What you lack is the formal education, which is why part of this position includes you enrolling in our management training program. You'd work regular hours, but we'd build in time for you to take classes. You'd have your own team. A significant raise. And this office, where you could bring Amara if you needed to, especially when she's older and daycare closes before you're done with work." Tanya felt overwhelmed. "This is too much. People will think I only got the position because we're together. Let them think what they want. You've earned this. Ask Brielle. Ask anyone on your team. They'll all tell you the same thing. You're a natural leader. People respect you. You make customers feel heard and valued. That's exactly what this role needs." "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll think about it. You don't have to decide right now. But Tanya, I need you to understand something. This offer isn't about our relationship. If we broke up tomorrow, I would still want you in this role because you're the best person for it. Don't let fear hold you back from something you're qualified for and would be excellent at." Tanya looked around the beautiful office, then at Logan, who was holding Amara and looking at her with such warmth and belief in his eyes. She thought about where she had been 6 months ago, desperate and scared, and where she was now, being offered a director position at a tech company. "Okay," she said. "I'll think about it. Seriously think about it." Logan's smile was brilliant. "That's all I ask." That evening, Tanya called her mother. Lorraine listened as Tanya explained the job offer, the office, Logan's faith in her abilities. "What's stopping you from saying yes, baby?" Lorraine asked. I'm scared. What if I fail? What if people resent me? What if they think I only got the job because of Logan? Let me ask you something. Do you think you can do the job? Yes. I think I could. Then that's all that matters. Baby, your whole life you've been told you're not enough. Not smart enough, not experienced enough, not prepared enough. But look at everything you've accomplished. You kept yourself and Amara alive and healthy when you had nothing. You took a wrong number text and turned it into a new life. You fought off your deadbeat ex when he tried to take your baby. You're stronger and more capable than you give yourself credit for. So stop being scared and start believing in yourself the way Logan believes in you. The way I believe in you. Tears streamed down Tanya's face. Thank you, Mama. Now, when am I going to meet this man who's treating my daughter like the queen she is? Because if he's as good as you say, I need to meet him and make sure his intentions are honorable. Tanya laughed through her tears. Soon. I promise. The following Monday, Tanya went to Logan's office and told him she accepted the position. His hug was tight and filled with pride. You won't regret this. I'm so proud of you. The announcement was made that afternoon, and as Tanya had feared, there were whispers. Some people congratulated her genuinely. Others gave her looks that said they knew exactly why she had been promoted. But Brielle was her loudest cheerleader. This is amazing, Brielle said at lunch. And anyone who thinks you don't deserve it can talk to me. I've worked with you for months. You're the real deal, Tanya. Thank you. That means a lot. Plus, now you're my boss's boss. Does this mean I can finally get that raise I've been asking for? Brielle? They both laughed and Tanya felt some of her anxiety ease. She could do this. She would do this. Not because Logan had given her the opportunity, but because she was capable and qualified. Her first few weeks as Director of Customer Experience were challenging but exhilarating. She implemented new training protocols, created better systems for handling complex customer issues, and established regular feedback sessions with the team. The customer satisfaction scores began climbing almost immediately. One afternoon, she was in her new office working on a report when Logan knocked on her open door. Got a minute? He asked. Always. What's up? Logan came in and closed the door, which was unusual. He looked serious and Tanya felt a flutter of concern. Is everything okay? Everything is more than okay. But I need to talk to you about something important. Something I've been thinking about for a while now. He sat down in the chair across from her desk, and Tanya noticed he seemed nervous, which was rare for Logan. We've been together for 4 months now, he began. 4 months that have been the happiest of my life. You and Amara have changed everything for me. You've given me a reason to look forward to going home at night. You've reminded me what really matters. And I've realized something. What? I don't want to live without you. Either of you. I want us to be a real family, not just people who see each other most days but maintain separate lives. I want to wake up with you every morning. I want to be there for every milestone in Amara's life. I want to build a future together. Tanya's heart was racing. What are you saying? I'm saying move in with me. Both of you. My place is plenty big. We can set up Amara's room however you want. You can keep your apartment if you want to maintain independence, or we can let it go and save the rent money. I'm not trying to control your life or take away your independence. I just want us to be together. Properly together. Tanya felt tears welling up. Logan, are you sure? That's a big step. I've never been more sure of anything. Tanya, I love you. I'm in love with you. I've been in love with you since that second week when you came to work with baby spit up on your shoulder and still smiled like it was the best day of your life because Amara had slept through the night. I love your strength. I love your kindness. I love the way you make me want to be a better person. And I love Amara like she was my own daughter. So yes, I'm sure. The question is, are you? Yes, Tanya said without hesitation. Yes, I want to move in with you. I want us to be a family. And Logan, I love you too. I've been afraid to say it because it felt too big too fast, but I love you. So much it scares me sometimes. Logan stood up and came around the desk, pulling Tanya to her feet and into his arms. He kissed her deeply, and Tanya felt like her heart might burst with happiness. We're really doing this? She asked when they finally pulled apart. We're really doing this. You, me, and Amara. A real family. A real family, Tanya repeated, smiling through happy tears. They spent that evening planning. Logan insisted that Tanya should redecorate however she wanted, that his loft needed to feel like home for all three of them, not just him. They looked at paint colors for Amara's room and furniture options online. They talked about daily routines and how to blend their lives together. The move happened 2 weeks later. Brielle and Miguel helped, along with some friends from work. By the time everything was in place, Logan's loft had been transformed from a bachelor space into a family home. Amara's room was painted a soft yellow with clouds on the ceiling. There were photos everywhere of the three of them. The refrigerator was covered in Amara's scribbles and magnetic letters. The first night in their new home, after Amara was asleep in her new room, Tanya and Logan stood on the balcony looking out over the city. "I keep thinking about the night we met," Tanya said. "I was at the absolute lowest point of my life. I had no money, no hope, no idea how I was going to survive the next day. And I sent a desperate text to what I thought was my friend's number. Instead, it was you. And you showed up. You came to my door at midnight and you saved us." "You saved yourself," Logan said. "I just gave you some tools you didn't have access to before. But the strength, the determination, the ability to keep fighting when everything was against you, that was all you. We saved each other then. You needed someone who saw you as just Logan, not as a rich CEO. I needed someone who believed I was more than just my circumstances. We were exactly what each other needed." Logan pulled her close. "And we still are. Every day I wake up grateful for that wrong number. For the chance to be part of your life. For the privilege of loving you and Amara. I'm grateful too. For all of it. For you." They stood together in the cool evening air, two people who had started in desperation and found their way to love. Two people who had learned that sometimes the wrong numbers in life turn out to be exactly right. Inside, Amara slept peacefully in her new room, safe and loved and completely unaware that her existence had been the catalyst for everything good that had happened. But someday Tanya would tell her the story. About the night Mama was desperate and scared and sent a text to a stranger. About the man who showed up at midnight with formula and kindness. About how that one moment changed all of their lives forever. It was a good story. A true story. A story about hope and second chances and the miraculous way that life can turn around when you're brave enough to ask for help and wise enough to accept it. And as Tanya stood in Logan's arms, looking out at the city that had once seemed so cold and uncaring, she knew with absolute certainty that this was just the beginning. The best was yet to come. The next 6 months were a period of adjustment and joy in equal measure. Living together was easier than Tanya had expected, probably because Logan was naturally considerate and because they had already spent so much time together before making it official. They quickly established routines. Logan would wake up early with Amara, giving Tanya an extra half-hour of sleep. Tanya would handle dinner most nights because she enjoyed cooking, while Logan took charge of bath time because he made it into a game that Amara loved. At work, Tanya continued to excel in her new role. The initial skepticism from some employees faded as her results spoke for themselves. Customer satisfaction scores had increased by 30% under her leadership. Employee retention in the customer service department was at an all-time high. She had proven beyond doubt that she deserved her position. Amara was growing fast, now walking and saying simple words. Her vocabulary consisted mostly of mama, Lolo, which was her version of Logan, no, and more. Logan doted on her completely, often coming home with small toys or books that he claimed Amara absolutely needed. "You're going to SPO. Tanya would say. "Good. She deserves to be spoiled a little. Besides, have you seen how excited she gets when I bring her a new book? Worth it." In December, Tanya received her acceptance letter to the nursing program. She would start classes in January, taking 2 courses per semester while working full-time. It was going to be challenging, but with Logan's support and the company's flexible scheduling, it was possible. The week before Christmas, Logan took Tanya and Amara to meet his extended family for the first time. They drove 3 hours to a small town where Logan's aunt and cousins lived. Tanya was nervous, worried about how they would react to her, but Logan's family welcomed them with open arms. His Aunt Rosa, a petite woman with Logan's kind eyes, hugged Tanya tightly. "Thank you for making my nephew smile again. After his mother died, we worried he would never let anyone close. But here you are. And this beautiful baby." She took Amara from Tanya's arms, cooing at her in Spanish. Logan's cousins were warm and funny, immediately including Tanya in their jokes and conversations. By the end of the day, Tanya felt like she had known them for years. As they drove home that evening with Amara asleep in her car seat, Tanya reached over and took Logan's hand. "Your family is wonderful. They loved you. My aunt pulled me aside and told me if I messed this up, she would disown me." Tanya laughed. "I like her already." She also said something else. She said my mother would have loved you. That you're exactly the kind of person she would have chosen for me. Tanya felt tears prick her eyes. "Really? Really? Strong, kind, resilient, and not impressed by money. That's exactly what my mom would have wanted for me." Someone who saw me for me. I do see you. All of you. And I love what I see. I love you too. So much. You and Amara are my whole world. They spent Christmas at the loft, just the three of them. Logan had gone overboard on presents for Amara, who was more interested in the wrapping paper than the actual toys. They took silly photos and ate too much food and watched Christmas movies while Amara toddled around in her new outfit, a green velvet dress that made her look like a tiny princess. That evening, after Amara was in bed, Logan and Tanya sat by the Christmas tree drinking hot chocolate. Logan seemed nervous again, and Tanya had learned to recognize when he had something important on his mind. "What is it?" she asked gently. "I want to talk about the future. About what comes next for us." "Okay." Logan set down his mug and turned to face her. "Tanya, these past months living with you have been the best of my life. Coming home to you and Amara every day, being part of your routines, waking up next to you, all of it. I don't ever want that to end. I want to make this permanent. Official. I want to marry you." Tanya's breath caught. "Logan. I know we haven't been together that long by traditional standards. But I also know that I've never been more certain of anything. You're it for me, Tanya. You're the person I want to build a life with. The person I want beside me through everything. And I want to be Amara's father, legally and officially, not just in practice. I want us to be a real family in every way possible." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Inside was a simple, elegant ring with a single diamond that caught the light from the Christmas tree. "Tanya Robinson, will you marry me?" Tanya looked at the ring, then at Logan's face, seeing the vulnerability and hope in his eyes. She thought about the journey that had brought them here. From that desperate text message to this moment. From barely surviving to thriving. From being alone to having a partner who loved her and her daughter unconditionally. "Yes," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, I'll marry you. I want to be your wife. I want us to be a family." Logan slipped the ring onto her finger and they kissed, both of them crying happy tears. When they pulled apart, Logan cupped her face in his hands. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret saying yes. I could never regret this. You've given me everything, Logan. Hope when I had none. Love when I thought I was unlovable. A future when I thought I had nothing to look forward to. How could I regret that?" They stayed up late that night talking about wedding plans in the future. Logan wanted to adopt Amara officially after they were married, giving her his last name and making her legally his daughter. Tanya loved the idea, knowing that Amara already saw Logan as her father. "When do you want to get married?" Logan asked. "I don't need anything big or fancy. Just something simple with the people we love." "What about this spring? April or May? We could have it at that park where we had our first date with Amara. Intimate ceremony, close friends and family." "That sounds perfect." The next morning, Amara woke them up early, climbing into their bed and demanding breakfast in her toddler way. Logan scooped her up, spinning her around. "Guess what, sweetheart? Your mama and I are getting married. That means I'm going to be your daddy for real. What do you think about that?" Amara giggled, having no idea what he was talking about but delighted by his excitement. Logan kissed her forehead, then looked at Tanya with so much love in his eyes that she felt her heart might burst. This was happiness. Real, lasting happiness. Not the temporary relief of a crisis averted or a bill paid, but the deep, sustained joy of being with people who loved you. Of building a life that mattered. Of knowing that whatever challenges came, you wouldn't face them alone. When Tanya told Brielle the news at work, her friends screamed so loudly that half the office came running to see what was wrong. She said yes. They're getting married. Brielle announced to everyone, grabbing Tanya's hand to show off the ring. The congratulations poured in, genuine and warm. Even the people who had initially doubted Tanya had come to respect her, and they were happy to see her happiness. That evening, Tanya video called her mother to share the news. Lorraine cried happy tears, blessing them and saying she would fly up for the wedding even if she had to work extra shifts to afford it. "Don't worry about that, Mama," Tanya said. "Logan and I will handle your travel. We want you here. My baby is getting married to a good man. A man who treats you the way you deserve to be treated. I'm so happy for you, sweetheart. So proud of you. Thanks, Mama. For everything. For raising me to know my worth. For supporting me when things were hard. For believing in me. That's what mothers do, baby. We believe in our children even when they can't believe in themselves." The months leading up to the wedding passed quickly. Tanya juggled her job, her nursing classes, planning a wedding, and raising Amara with Logan's constant support. It was busy and sometimes stressful, but it was good stress. The stress of building a life, not just surviving one. Logan's family helped with wedding planning, his Aunt Rosa taking charge of the food and insisting on cooking several traditional dishes. Brielle organized the bachelorette party, a low-key evening at a nice restaurant with Tanya's small circle of female friends. "I never thought I'd be here," Tanya admitted to Brielle that evening. "A year ago I couldn't afford formula for my baby. Now I'm planning a wedding and going to nursing school and raising my daughter with a man who loves us both. It doesn't seem real." "It's real," Brielle assured her. "And you deserve every bit of it. You worked for this, Tanya. Maybe not in the traditional sense, but you survived when most people would have given up. You had the courage to accept help when you needed it. You had the strength to let someone love you even when you were scared. That takes real bravery." On the morning of the wedding, Tanya woke up in Logan's loft for the last time as an unmarried woman. Well, technically his loft was already hers too, but after today it would be official. Everything would be official. Lorraine had arrived 2 days earlier and had taken over grandmother duties with enthusiasm, giving Tanya and Logan time to handle last-minute wedding details. Now, as Tanya got ready in the bedroom with Brielle's help, she could hear her mother playing with Amara in the living room, both of them giggling. "You look beautiful," Brielle said as she helped Tanya into her dress. It was simple and elegant, a tea-length blue dress that made her feel both comfortable and pretty. Nothing too formal or fussy. Just right for a park wedding in May. Amara was wearing a tiny green dress, and she would walk down the aisle in a wagon pulled by Logan's youngest cousin, scattering flower petals in the most chaotic toddler way possible. The ceremony was set for 4 in the afternoon at the park where they had first spent time together as a family. About 50 people were there, close friends and family, sitting in chairs arranged in a semicircle. The weather was perfect, warm but not too hot, with a gentle breeze. As Tanya walked down the aisle with her mother beside her, she saw Logan waiting at the end. He was dressed in a blue suit that matched her dress, and the look on his face when he saw her made her want to cry happy tears. Behind him stood his best man, his cousin Diego, and beside the officiant was the wagon with Amara, who was gleefully throwing petals everywhere except where she was supposed to. When Tanya reached Logan, he took both her hands in his, and for a moment, everyone else faded away. It was just them looking at each other, about to promise forever. The ceremony was short and sweet. They had written their own vows, and when it was Tanya's turn to speak, she looked into Logan's eyes and said, "Logan, when I texted you that desperate message at midnight, I thought I was asking for help with formula. But what you gave me was so much more. You gave me hope. You gave me belief in myself. You gave me love when I thought I was too broken to deserve it. You showed me that kindness exists, that good people exist, and that sometimes life gives you exactly what you need when you need it most. You love my daughter like she's yours. You support my dreams. You see me, really see me, and you choose me anyway. I promise to love you, to support you, to be your partner in everything for the rest of our lives." Logan's eyes were wet as he began his vows. "Tanya, you changed my life in ways you'll never fully understand. Before you, I was successful but lonely. I had everything money could buy but nothing that really mattered. Then you came into my life, this beautiful, strong woman who was facing impossible challenges with grace and determination. You taught me what real strength looks like. You reminded me why I built my business in the first place, to help people, to make a difference. You and Amara became my reason to come home at night. My reason to be better. You showed me that family isn't about biology or legal documents. It's about choice and love and commitment. I choose you, Tanya. Every day for the rest of my life I choose you. I choose us." There wasn't a dry eye in the audience by the time the officiant pronounced them husband and wife. When Logan kissed Tanya, their family and friends erupted in cheers. Amara, not understanding what was happening but excited by the noise, clapped her hands and shouted, "Yay!" The reception was relaxed and joyful. They ate Rosa's incredible food, danced to music from a small local band, and celebrated with the people they loved. Lorraine gave a toast that made everyone cry, talking about how proud she was of her daughter and how grateful she was that Tanya had found such a good man. Miguel and Brielle presented them with a photo album they had secretly compiled, filled with pictures from the past year. Photos from family day at the park, from Christmas morning, from lazy Sundays spent together. A visual record of their journey from wrong number text to this moment. As the sun began to set, Logan pulled Tanya aside to a quiet corner of the park. They could still hear the music and laughter from the reception, but it felt like they were in their own bubble. "How does it feel to be Mrs. Bennett?" Logan asked, wrapping his arms around her waist. "It feels right. Perfect. Like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I love you so much. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for taking a chance on us. Thank you for showing up at midnight. Thank you for seeing me when I was at my worst and deciding I was worth fighting for. They kissed as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, and Tanya thought about how far they had come. From desperation to celebration. From barely surviving to truly living. From two separate lives to one shared future. Later, as they cut the cake and fed each other bites while everyone laughed and took photos, as Tanya danced with her mother while Logan danced with Amara balanced on his feet, as they said goodbye to guests and accepted hugs and well wishes, Tanya felt a peace settle over her. This was her life now. This wonderful, unexpected, beautiful life. Built on the foundation of that desperate text message. That moment of rock bottom that had somehow led to her highest highs. As they drove home that night, with Amara asleep in her car seat and Lorraine already at the loft having left early to give them some newlywed time, Tanya looked at her husband, and smiled. I love you, Mr. Bennett. I love you too, Mrs. Bennett. Forever. Forever. Tanya had once believed forever was too much to hope for. But now, with her hand in Logan's and her daughter sleeping peacefully behind them, forever felt not only possible but guaranteed. They had built something real. Something lasting. Something worth everything they had been through to get here. And that was the greatest gift of all. The first year of marriage was an adjustment period filled with joy, challenges, and growth. Tanya threw herself into her nursing classes while maintaining her role as director of customer experience. The workload was intense, but Logan was her constant support system, taking over childcare duties whenever she needed to study, bringing her coffee during late-night cram sessions, and never once complaining about the sacrifices they had to make for her education. Amara was now a toddler with opinions about everything. She had Logan completely wrapped around her little finger, and he didn't even try to hide it. At 18 months old, she could say, Daddy clearly, having stopped calling him Lolo, about 2 months after the wedding. The first time she had called him Daddy unprompted, Logan had actually cried, scooping her up and holding her close. She called me Daddy, he had said to Tanya, his voice thick with emotion. Did you hear that? She called me Daddy. You are her daddy, Tanya had reminded him. In every way that matters. Logan had officially adopted Amara 3 months after the wedding. The legal process had been straightforward given Jerome's complete lack of involvement and previous failed custody attempt. When the judge signed the final papers, Logan had been emotional all over again. Amara Bennett, he kept saying. She's officially mine. Officially ours. Now, as spring arrived again, Tanya was finishing her first year of nursing school with excellent grades. She had proven to herself and everyone else that she could handle the demands of work, school, and family. But it was exhausting. One evening in late April, Tanya came home from a particularly brutal exam to find Logan had ordered takeout from her favorite restaurant and set up a relaxation station in their bedroom. Candles, soft music, and a promise to handle everything with Amara for the rest of the evening. You've been running yourself ragged, he said gently. Tonight you rest. No studying, no work emails, no mom duties. Just relax. Logan, I have another exam next week. I should study. You'll study tomorrow. Tonight you recharge. That's an order from your husband. Tanya smiled tiredly. Since when do you give orders? Since I noticed my wife has dark circles under her eyes and hasn't taken a full day off in 3 months. Please, Tanya. Let me take care of you the way you take care of everyone else. She agreed, and the forced rest was exactly what she needed. As she soaked in a warm bath while Logan put Amara to bed, Tanya thought about how fortunate she was. Not just because of Logan's financial support, though that made everything possible, but because of his emotional support. His belief in her. His refusal to let her burn herself out. After her bath, she found Logan on the couch with a serious expression. We need to talk about something, he said, patting the seat next to him. Tanya felt a flicker of worry. Is everything okay? Everything is fine. Great, actually. But I want to discuss our future. Specifically, when you graduate from nursing school next year, what do you want to do? What do you mean? I'll get a job as a nurse somewhere. But where? What kind of nursing? Hospital? Clinic? Do you want to specialize? Tanya hadn't thought that far ahead. I don't know. I've been so focused on just getting through school that I haven't planned beyond that. Well, I've been thinking about it. What if we created our own opportunity? What if we opened a community health clinic in the neighborhood where I grew up? A place that offers affordable healthcare, sliding scale fees, accepts all insurance including Medicaid. A place where people who are struggling can get quality care without judgment or financial barriers. Tanya stared at him. That's a huge undertaking. I know. But think about it. You could be the lead nurse, eventually nurse practitioner if you wanted to continue your education. We could hire other nurses, doctors who care about community medicine. We could offer services that are hard to access in low-income neighborhoods. Mental health support, nutrition counseling, prenatal care. Everything my mother needed but couldn't afford. Everything you needed when you were pregnant with Amara. Tanya felt excitement building in her chest. That would be incredible. But Logan, opening a clinic requires massive capital. Even with your resources, that's a significant investment. I can afford it. More importantly, I want to do it. Not as charity, but as a sustainable business model that prioritizes people over profits. We'd still charge fees, still accept insurance, still run it like a real medical practice. But our mission would be community health, not shareholder returns. When did you start planning this? About 6 months ago. I've been working with architects and healthcare consultants quietly. I didn't want to tell you until I knew it was feasible. But it is, Tanya. We can do this. We can create something meaningful that helps people the way we were both helped when we needed it most. Tanya felt tears welling up. You want to build a clinic for me to run? I want to build a clinic with you. A shared project. A way to give back to the community that shaped both of us. But only if you want this. If you'd rather work in a hospital or go a different direction, I support that too. This is your career, your decision. I'm just offering an option. Tanya thought about it, the possibilities spinning through her mind. Her own clinic. The ability to help people like her former self. To provide care with compassion and understanding. To be part of something bigger than just a paycheck. I want to do it, she said. I want to build this with you. Logan's smile was brilliant. Really? Really? It's perfect. It's exactly the kind of work I dreamed about doing before life got complicated. You're giving me the chance to make that dream real. They spent the rest of the evening discussing plans. Logan showed her the preliminary architectural drawings for a building he had already purchased in his old neighborhood. It was currently a vacant retail space, but it could be converted into a beautiful, modern clinic. They talked about services to offer, potential staff to hire, community partnerships to build. We'll call it Hope Community Health, Logan suggested. Because that's what it's really about. Giving people hope that they can be healthy, that they can access care, that they matter. Hope Community Health, Tanya repeated. I love it. Over the next several months, while Tanya finished her second year of nursing school, Logan moved forward with the clinic project. He hired contractors to renovate the space. He met with medical suppliers and insurance companies. He worked with lawyers to set up the proper business structure and nonprofit status. Every step, he consulted with Tanya, making sure the clinic reflected her vision as much as his. By the time Tanya graduated from nursing school with honors, the clinic was nearly ready to open. At her graduation ceremony, Logan and Amara sat in the front row, cheering louder than anyone else when Tanya walked across the stage to receive her degree. Lorraine had flown up for the occasion, crying proud tears. My baby is a nurse, she kept saying. A real nurse. After everything you've been through, look at you now. The celebration dinner that night was at Mama Rosa's, where they had gone on their first date. The whole family was there, Logan's extended family having adopted Tanya and Amara completely. Speeches were made, embarrassing stories were told, and Tanya felt surrounded by love and support. A toast, Logan said, standing up with his glass. To my brilliant, beautiful wife, who just achieved a dream that once seemed impossible. Tanya, you've inspired me every single day. Your determination, your compassion, your refusal to give up no matter how hard things got. You're going to be an amazing nurse. And in 2 months when we open Hope Community Health, you're going to change lives. Just like you changed mine. I love you and I'm so incredibly proud of you. Everyone raised their glasses and Tanya felt overwhelmed with emotion. She looked around the table at all these people who had become her family. Logan's Aunt Rosa, who treated her like a daughter. Brielle and Miguel, who had been there from the beginning. Her mother, who had sacrificed so much to raise her right. And Logan, her husband, her partner, the man who had shown up at midnight and changed everything. Thank you, she said, her voice cracking. All of you. I couldn't have done this without your support. And Logan, thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself. For giving me the tools to succeed and then letting me do it myself. For being my partner in the truest sense of the word. I love you all so much. Amara, sitting in her high chair next to Tanya, clapped her hands. Mama, she said proudly, and everyone laughed. 2 months later, Hope Community Health opened its doors. The clinic was beautiful, with bright, welcoming colors on the walls, comfortable waiting areas, and state-of-the-art medical equipment. Tanya had hired 2 other nurses, both women with backgrounds in community health. They had partnered with 3 doctors who rotated through the clinic, providing comprehensive care. The grand opening drew a huge crowd from the neighborhood. Local news covered it, focusing on the story of the billionaire CEO and his nurse wife opening a clinic dedicated to affordable healthcare. But to Tanya, it wasn't about the headlines. It was about the elderly man who cried when he learned he could afford his diabetes medication now. It was about the pregnant teenager who reminded Tanya of herself, scared and alone, finally getting prenatal care. It was about the families who had been avoiding medical care because of cost, now able to bring their children in for checkups. On the first day, an elderly woman came in needing treatment for a chronic condition. She had been rationing her medications because she couldn't afford them all. When Tanya explained the clinic's sliding scale fee structure and helped her sign up for prescription assistance programs, the woman started crying. "I didn't think anyone cared," the woman said. "I thought I would just have to suffer or choose between medicine and food." "We care," Tanya assured her. "That's why we're here. You matter. Your health matters. And we're going to help you." After the woman left, properly treated and with a plan for managing her condition affordably, Tanya sat in her office and cried. These were the moments she had dreamed about. This was why she had pushed herself through nursing school despite the exhaustion. This was what giving back looked like. Logan found her there, tears streaming down her face, and immediately came to her side. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Everything is right. That patient, Mrs. Garcia, she's been suffering for months because she couldn't afford care. And we helped her. We actually helped her. Logan, we're making a difference." "You're making a difference. This is your vision, Tanya. I just provided the resources. You're the heart of this place." That night, they lay in bed talking about the day, about the patients they had seen, about the impact they hoped to make. Amara was asleep in her room, and for a moment, everything was peaceful. "I have something to tell you," Tanya said softly. "What?" "I'm pregnant." Logan sat up so fast he nearly fell out of bed. "What? Really? Are you sure?" "I took 3 tests this morning. All positive. I wanted to wait until after the opening to tell you. I didn't want to distract from the clinic launch." Logan laughed, tears streaming down his face. "Tanya, that's amazing. We're having a baby. Amara is going to be a big sister." He pulled her into a tight hug and they stayed like that for a long time, holding each other, processing the news. "How far along are you?" Logan finally asked. "About 8 weeks. I have a doctor's appointment next week." "We're going to have a baby," Logan kept repeating like he couldn't quite believe it. "Our baby. Created from our love. This is incredible. Are you happy?" "I know this wasn't planned." "Happy? I'm ecstatic. Tanya, I get to experience pregnancy with you from the beginning. I get to be there for every step, every appointment, every milestone. Amara came into my life as a 6-month-old, and I love her like she's mine, but this." He placed his hand gently on her still flat stomach. "This is our baby. Ours together. I'm beyond happy." "Good. Because I'm terrified and excited and overwhelmed, and I need you to be happy so I can lean on your happiness when my anxiety takes over. We're going to do this together. Every step. And this time you won't be alone and scared and struggling. You'll have support, resources, a partner. It's going to be completely different than when you had Amara." He was right. This pregnancy was nothing like her first. Tanya had access to excellent prenatal care. She had a supportive partner who came to every appointment, who rearranged his schedule to accommodate her needs, who rubbed her feet when they swelled and brought her ginger tea when morning sickness hit. She had financial stability, so she didn't have to worry about medical bills or lost work time. She had everything she hadn't had the first time. But more than the material support, she had love. Pure, unconditional, steadfast love. From Logan, from Amara, from their extended family. She wasn't facing this alone. She was facing it surrounded by people who cared. At 4 months pregnant, when they found out they were having a boy, Logan cried again. "A son. We're having a son. Amara's going to have a little brother." They decided to name him after Logan's mother. Michael Bennett, though they would call him Mikey. The pregnancy progressed smoothly. Tanya continued working at the clinic until she was 7 months along, then transitioned to administrative duties that she could do from home. The clinic was thriving, serving over 200 patients a week, making real differences in people's lives every single day. Amara, now almost 3, was excited about the baby, though she didn't fully understand what it meant. She would talk to Tanya's belly, telling baby about her toys and her favorite shows. Logan would sit with her, explaining that soon she would have a little brother who would need her help and love. In the evenings, Logan would read to both Amara and Tanya's belly, his hand resting on her bump, feeling the baby kick and move. "He's active," Logan would say with wonder. "Strong. Like his mother. Like both his parents," Tanya would correct. The night before Tanya went into labor, they had dinner as a family at home. Just the three of them, soon to be four. Amara was chattering about her day at preschool, and Logan was helping her practice her ABCs. Tanya sat watching them, her hand on her belly, feeling Mikey moving around. This was her life. This beautiful, unexpected, miraculous life. Built from the ashes of desperation. Forged through struggle and determination. Sustained by love and hope and the kindness of a man who had answered a wrong number text. She thought about that night 2 years ago when she had sat on her apartment floor, broke and scared, texting desperately for help. If someone had told her then that she would be here now, married to a wonderful man, with a thriving daughter, a second child on the way, and a meaningful career helping others, she never would have believed it. But it was real. All of it. Every beautiful, improbable bit of it. "What are you thinking about?" Logan asked, noticing her contemplative expression. "How lucky I am. How far we've come. How grateful I am for that wrong number." Logan smiled, coming over to kiss her forehead. "Best wrong number ever. Best mistake I ever made." "It wasn't a mistake," Logan said softly. "It was meant to be. You were meant to text me. I was meant to answer. We were meant to find each other. Everything that happened led us here, to this moment, to this family. That's not mistake. That's destiny." Tanya leaned into him, feeling the truth of his words. Maybe it was destiny. Maybe the universe had a plan all along. Maybe desperation and hope and random chance all combined to create something beautiful. Or maybe, Tanya thought, the truth was simpler than that. Maybe kindness exists in the world. Maybe good people exist who show up at midnight with formula and compassion. Maybe second chances are real, and maybe love is worth fighting for. And maybe, just maybe, all you have to do is be brave enough to ask for help and wise enough to accept it when it comes. That was the real lesson. The real miracle. Not that Logan had money or resources, though those helped. But that he had shown up. That he had seen a stranger in need and decided to help. No strings attached, no expectations of return. That simple act of human kindness had changed everything. And now, 2 years later, they were building a life together. A family. A future filled with hope and possibility. Michael Bennett was born on a rainy Tuesday morning in November, weighing 7 pounds and 3 ounces, with his father's blue eyes and his mother's beautiful skin tone. Logan cut the umbilical cord with tears streaming down his face, and when the nurses placed Mikey on Tanya's chest, she felt a completeness she hadn't known she was missing. This was her family. Complete and perfect in hers. And it had all started with a wrong number. 5 years later, Tanya stood in the kitchen of their new home preparing breakfast for her family. The house was bigger than the loft, located in a good neighborhood with excellent schools, with a big backyard where Amara and Mikey could play. They had moved a year ago when Mikey started preschool and Amara was ready for kindergarten. "Mama, Mikey took my toy." Amara called from the living room, her voice holding that particular 7-year-old mix of outrage and drama. "Mikey, give your sister back her toy, please," Tanya called back. "But she wasn't playing with it," came Mikey's response. "Doesn't matter. It's hers. Give it back." "Fine." Tanya smiled, shaking her head. Siblings. They fought constantly but loved each other fiercely. Amara was protective of Mikey at school, and Mikey followed his big sister around like she hung the moon. Logan came downstairs, already dressed for work, and immediately went to the coffee pot. Morning chaos already started? Always. They were up at 6 fighting over which cartoon to watch. Sounds about right. He came over and kissed her. "How are you feeling?" "Good. Tired but good. You should take it easy today. Don't overdo it at the clinic." "I won't. I have a light schedule. Just a few follow-up appointments." Hope Community Health had grown significantly over the past 5 years. They now had 2 locations, the original clinic and a second one that had opened 3 years ago in another underserved neighborhood. Tanya still worked as the lead nurse at the original location, though she had brought on a clinic manager to handle the administrative duties. She had also completed her nurse practitioner certification, allowing her to diagnose and prescribe medications, making her more effective in serving their patients. The clinic had become a model for community healthcare, featured in medical journals and even a national news segment. Other cities had reached out asking for advice on replicating their model. Logan and Tanya had started a consulting service, helping other communities establish similar clinics. But for Tanya, the real success wasn't the accolades or the expansion. It was the individual lives they touched. The young mothers who reminded her of herself, now getting prenatal care. The elderly patients who could finally manage their chronic conditions. The families who no longer had to choose between healthcare and food. "Mama, we're hungry," Amara announced, coming into the kitchen with Mikey trailing behind her. "Breakfast is almost ready. Mikey, wash your hands." "Amara, set the table please." The kids jumped into action and Logan helped get them organized. As they all sat down for breakfast together, Tanya looked around the table at her family. Amara was telling a story about something that happened at school yesterday, gesturing dramatically. Mikey was trying to interrupt with his own story. Logan was paying attention to both, somehow following both narratives at once and asking relevant questions to each child. This was everything. This simple moment. Breakfast with her family. Healthy, happy children. A husband who was an active, engaged parent. A career that fulfilled her. Financial stability. Well, what's everyone's plan for today? Logan asked. School, Amara said. And then Emma's mom is picking us up for dance class. Preschool, Mikey said. And then Daddy is getting me and we're going to the park. That's right, buddy. Boys' afternoon at the park while Mama works. What are you going to do at work today, Daddy? Mikey asked. I have some meetings about new software projects. Pretty boring compared to what you'll be doing at the park. And I have patients to see at the clinic, Tanya added. People who need help staying healthy. Like you help people? Amara asked. Exactly like that. When I grow up, I want to help people too, Amara declared. Maybe I'll be a doctor. Or a teacher. Or both. You can be anything you want to be, sweetie, Tanya told her. As long as you work hard and believe in yourself. After breakfast, they went through the usual morning routine. Getting the kids dressed, packing backpacks and lunch boxes, making sure everyone had everything they needed. Logan dropped the kids at their respective schools while Tanya headed to the clinic. The morning was busy with patients. Mrs. Garcia, the elderly woman from the clinic's first day, was now a regular, her health conditions well managed. She always brought Tanya and the staff homemade tamales to say thank you. Around 11, Tanya was between appointments when her phone rang. It was an unknown number, but she answered anyway. Is this Tanya Bennett? Yes, who's calling? This is Sarah Johnson from Community Service Excellence. I'm calling to inform you that Hope Community Health has been selected to receive this year's National Community Impact Award for your outstanding work in providing accessible healthcare to underserved populations. Tanya nearly dropped the phone. I'm sorry, what? Sarah explained that the award was one of the most prestigious in community health, recognizing organizations that made significant, measurable impacts on community well-being. Hope Community Health had been nominated by several of their patients and was selected from hundreds of applicants nationwide. There's a ceremony in Washington, D.C. in 6 weeks, Sarah continued. We'd love for you and your husband to attend to accept the award. After the call ended, Tanya immediately called Logan. We won an award, she said when he answered. A major national award for the clinic. That's amazing. Tell me everything. She explained about the award and the ceremony, and Logan's excitement matched hers. We have to go. This is huge, Tanya. This validates everything we've been working toward. That evening they celebrated with the kids, explaining in simple terms that the clinic Mama and Daddy started was being recognized for helping lots of people. Because you're the best helpers, Amara said confidently. Not just us, Tanya corrected. Everyone at the clinic. And really, we're just trying to help people the way others helped us when we needed it. Later, after the kids were in bed, Logan and Tanya sat on the couch talking about the award and what it meant. Do you ever think about that night? Logan asked. The night you texted me by mistake? All the time. How could I not? That one desperate moment changed my entire life. Our entire lives. Mine too. I was successful but empty before you. I had money but no real purpose. No family. No one to share it with. You gave me all of that. We gave it to each other, Tanya said, taking his hand. You showed up when I needed someone. I gave you a reason to show up. We built this together. Best wrong number ever. Best mistake I ever made, Tanya echoed, the phrase now a beloved joke between them. They sat in comfortable silence for a while before Logan spoke again. I have something I want to discuss with you. Okay. I've been thinking about stepping back from Bennett Tech Solutions. Not leaving completely, but transitioning more of the day-to-day management to the team. I want to spend more time with the kids while they're young. More time working on the clinic expansion. More time with you. Tanya looked at him in surprise. You want to step back from your company? The company you built from scratch. I built it to create financial security so I could help people. Mission accomplished. Now I want to focus on the helping people part more directly. The company runs well without me micromanaging everything. I have excellent people in place. It's time to trust them and redirect my energy toward what matters most. Logan, are you sure? That company is your legacy. No, Logan said firmly. You and our children are my legacy. The clinic is my legacy. The lives we've changed, the people we've helped, the family we've built. That's what matters. Not profit margins or quarterly reports. Tanya felt tears welling up. After all these years, Logan still had the ability to surprise her with his depth and his values. If that's what you want, I support you completely. What I want is to be present. To be here for you and the kids. To have dinner together every night without rushing from the office. To coach Mikey's soccer team and attend Amara's dance recitals without my phone constantly buzzing with work emergencies. I want to be the father and husband I had always hoped to be. You already are that father and husband. I can be better. I can be more present. And I want to be. They talked late into the night about what this transition would look like, about how it would affect their family, about the possibilities it created. By the time they went to bed, they had made a plan. Logan would announce his intention to step back to more of a board chairman role, spending maybe 20 hours a week on company business instead of 60. The transition happened over the next few months, and true to his word, Logan became even more involved in family life. He was at every school event, every doctor's appointment, every moment that mattered. He also became more involved in the clinic's operations, using his business expertise to help Tanya expand their services and improve their efficiency. 6 weeks after the phone call, Logan and Tanya flew to Washington, D.C. for the award ceremony. Lorraine came to stay with the kids, and it was the first time in years that Logan and Tanya had traveled alone together. The ceremony was elegant and moving. Hope Community Health was one of 5 organizations being recognized that year. When it was their turn to accept the award, Tanya and Logan walked on stage together, holding hands. Tanya gave the acceptance speech, speaking from the heart about why the clinic mattered, about the people they served, about the importance of accessible healthcare for everyone regardless of their ability to pay. 5 years ago, she said to the audience of hundreds, I was a single mother who couldn't afford formula for my baby. I was at the absolute lowest point of my life, desperate and scared. I sent a text asking for help and someone answered. That simple act of kindness changed everything. It gave me hope when I had none. It showed me that good people exist, that compassion exists, that communities can lift each other up. Hope Community Health is our way of paying that kindness forward. Of being the answer to someone else's desperate text. Because everyone deserves access to healthcare. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. Everyone deserves hope. The audience gave them a standing ovation, and Tanya felt Logan squeeze her hand. They accepted the award together, a beautiful crystal sculpture that would sit in the clinic lobby for everyone to see. After the ceremony, several other healthcare leaders approached them about consulting on similar projects in their communities. By the end of the evening, Tanya and Logan had committed to helping 3 other cities establish community health clinics based on their model. We're starting a movement, Logan said on the flight home. We're just helping where we can, Tanya replied. Like someone helped us. When they arrived home, the kids were still awake despite the late hour, too excited to hear about the trip. Amara wanted to see pictures of the fancy ceremony, and Mikey wanted to know if they had met the president. No president, Logan laughed. But we met lots of important people who want to help communities like ours. After finally getting the kids to bed, Tanya stood in Amara's doorway watching her daughter sleep. 7 years old now, so different from the tiny premature baby who had started this whole journey. Beautiful, smart, kind, healthy. Everything Tanya had prayed for during those terrifying NICU days. Logan came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. Thinking about the past? About how far we've come. How much has changed. Do you ever wish you could go back and tell your younger self that everything would be okay? That the desperate, scared woman sending that text would end up here? Sometimes. But I don't think she would have believed it. The gap between that life and this one is too big. It would have seemed impossible. Good thing you didn't need to believe it. You just needed to take it one day at a time, one small step after another, until you ended up here. They moved to Mikey's room next, watching their son sleep with his arms wrapped around his favorite stuffed bear. He looked so much like Logan, though he had Tanya's smile. 2 beautiful children, Logan whispered. A meaningful career. A life built on love and purpose. How did we get so lucky? I don't think it was luck, Tanya said. I think it was grace. And kindness. and refusing to give up even when everything seemed hopeless. They went to their own room, getting ready for bed, comfortable in the routines they had built over years together. As they climbed into bed, Tanya felt a wave of contentment wash over her. Logan? Yeah. Thank you. For what? For showing up. For believing in me. For building this life with me. For being exactly who you are. Thank you for texting the wrong number. For letting me in. For loving me. For giving me a family. For being the best partner I could ever have imagined. They fell asleep holding hands, two people who had found each other in the most unexpected way and built something beautiful from that chance encounter. The next morning was Sunday, their traditional family day. They made pancakes together, Amara helping flip them while Mikey set the table and Logan mixed more batter. After breakfast they went to the park, all four of them enjoying the perfect spring weather. Tanya pushed Mikey on the swings while Logan helped Amara practice on the monkey bars. Other families played nearby, and Tanya recognized several of them as patients from the clinic. They waved and smiled and Tanya waved back. This was community. This was connection. This was what mattered. As the afternoon sun filtered through the trees, Tanya called her family together. Picture time, she announced, pulling out her phone. They gathered close, Logan holding Mikey, Tanya holding Amara, all of them smiling genuinely. The photo captured a perfect moment. A family who loved each other. Who had built something real together. Who had overcome obstacles and found happiness. Later, Tanya would post the photo with a simple caption. 5 years ago, I sent a text to a wrong number asking for help with baby formula. That text changed my life. Sometimes the wrong numbers turn out to be exactly right. Grateful for every twist and turn that led me here. The post would go viral, shared thousands of times by people who found hope in her story. Single mothers would reach out saying her journey inspired them. People would donate to Hope Community Health, wanting to be part of spreading that same kind of life-changing kindness. But Tanya didn't know that yet. Right now, in this moment, she was just a mother playing in the park with her family. Just a woman who had found love and purpose and built a beautiful life. The wrong number that had seemed like a disaster at the time had actually been a miracle in disguise. The desperate text sent at midnight had led to everything good in her life now. And as Logan called the kids over for one more ride on the carousel before heading home for dinner, as Amara grabbed her hand and Mikey grabbed Logan's, forming their little family chain, Tanya felt a deep, abiding gratitude. 4 wrong numbers that turn out right. For kindness from strangers that becomes love. For second chances and new beginnings. For hope when everything seems hopeless. For the ability to not just survive but to thrive. For family however it's formed. And most of all, for the courage to ask for help and the wisdom to accept it when it comes. That was the real lesson of their story. That was the message Tanya wanted to share with the world. We all need help sometimes. And sometimes, if we're lucky, if we're brave, if we're willing to be vulnerable enough to ask, help shows up in the most unexpected ways. Like a billionaire CEO answering a desperate text at midnight. Like a wrong number becoming exactly right. Like a moment of desperation becoming the first chapter of a love story. And as the Bennett family walked home together in the golden afternoon light, laughing and talking about what to make for dinner, Tanya knew with absolute certainty that this was what happiness looked like. Not perfect, sometimes messy, often complicated, but real, true. Built on a foundation of love, hope, and the miraculous power of human kindness. And that was more than enough. It was everything.